across the pond from the United Kingdom to the west coast of Orange County, California. From a Pacific perspective to the Atlantic perspective. From liberal craziness to conservative idealism. From Christianity to atheism belief systems. Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable with Rectify and Wingman at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com.
Welcome one and welcome all the good peeps out there, Revolution Radio. This is Rectify. We're with a whole group of all the awesome peeps over here at the good roundtables at Revolution Radio. I'm with my co-host Wingman. We have Vibes.
Hey.
Noreen, thank you for the awesome introduction, Noreen.
No problem.
She does the last round table before the Gray Zone. SJ, always in the house. What's up, brother? We also have Stephen Kelly carrying on from his due diligence of the last show, coming over. And we've got JMJ John. What's up, my friend? How you all doing?
Well, man, good evening to you all. Hope you're feeling a bit better, my friend. Heard you're under the weather, but you're a top soldier, soldiering on, man. Good on you.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, and I'm going to soldier on because, I mean, it's only once a week, so it's really hard to justify, doing downtime when you're only doing a show once a week.
Well, you got all of us to help you, so.
Thank you so much. You guys are all awesome over here. And I can't believe we're all volunteering to do this, and it's if someone's down and out, I mean, the soldier's getting pulled out by his volunteer buddy soldiers. It's awesome. But yeah, Wing, I heard you're getting flooded like Katrina over there in the UK, 14-foot waves and stuff.
It's happening. I've already started getting the planks together and building an ark, so just in case,
Is it how many cubits by how many cubits again?
Oh, I can't remember the exact specs. I'll have to get them out. But no, yeah, all around the UK is crazy flooding, really bad, and we're not even experiencing spring tide yet. Still about a meter under spring tide. High tide's normally about 4.2 meters in my area at the moment, and it goes up to something like 5.4. So even with that in mind, lots of flooding everywhere. A lot of people being turfed out of their homes. A lot of flood warnings. How
about the 14-foot waves? I assume that's about, 3 meters or so? Is that true?
Yeah, no, we don't really get many. It's more just the rivers are flooding, basically. We don't really get that many waves, apart from mainly in Cornwall, which is where all the surfers go for waves, but even then, they're not that big.
So there are surfers in the UK?
Oh, yeah, in Cornwall, mainly. But they're kind of wannabe surfers, because the real surfers go to Hawaii and places like that,
Right. It's got to be freezing over there.
Yeah, the water's freezing around the UK, definitely.
So, anybody, I'm sorry, Noreen, I didn't get to grab most of your show. I was hovering over the toilet.
No, I mean, we were really, I was concerned, and that's why we're here, I mean, fortunately.
What I meant was, what topic you were on, if you guys just wanted to carry on, because I might be in and out.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah, actually, David Ginger and Laura Lee and Sally all are not here right now, so we could just start anew, with you guys, so.
Right on. What were you guys talking about earlier?
Oh, I went to the Conscious Life Expo. And that was that was great. I met George Norrie for the first time.
How was he in real life? Is he a short guy or tall?
No, average height. Not short, not super tall, and yeah.
Was he really nice, or was he kind of egotistical?
No, he was actually nice. Honestly, he was engaging and friendly that night. So
he seemed sincerely nice.
It does, seem that way. Or either that or he's a great actor, right? It's one of the two, but.
So what did you say to him, Noreen? Were you like, oh my God, George, is that you? Can I speak to you? Or
Well, it was a meet and greet, so I wasn't the only person, but I spoke to him and talked about Douglas Dietrich because I still am his secretarial assistant. And, Douglas Dietrich has been on Coast to Coast many times and still wants to be, so that was part of my conversation. But other than that, just friendly exchange and took a photo of me and him, and maybe I'll pull that one up in a sec here. So, yeah.
All right, so you went to the conference. Was there anything, revelation bearing there or some speaker that you liked in particular that maybe you could recommend to us?
I will be honest, I was busy, but I did catch the tail end of David Wilcock, and he was quite a speaker. He had a full room, so he's interesting, and the booths are really awesome. I love the booths, and Jerry Avalos had a booth, and he does hologram energy technology, and Bill Grant, I hung out with him and Zora and a lot of people.
Excellent. Sounds like you had a fabulous time.
Yeah, but you guys, these events, if you can go to them, are really awesome. The energy is just like, it's great. The energy is awesome. Uplifting.
Not too much going on in Virginia.
I was close to getting a flight out there, actually, and joining you.
Oh, too bad.
I wasn't sure I was going to make customs, so I didn't know.
Oh, no. What do you got stashed away?
No, but I've had problems getting into America before, and I can't deal with the hassle, So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but I would love to have gone. There's some great speakers, and oh gosh, the variety, incredible. So is it the last day today, or is that tomorrow?
Yes, no, they had a post-conference Monday today. So, yeah, today was technically the last day. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to tell us how many, what do you call them, workshops, or how many?
Yeah, I'm looking at the program guide right now. There are so many. Our Sean David Morton was there Sunday. Barbara Lamb was there. Let me just go through, the names at least.
And how many have you sat in on so far?
I only had time for the end of David Wilcock. I was only there Saturday. So,
okay.
Yeah. And this was from Friday until today.
What about Bill? Did you speak? Because Bill went, didn't he?
Oh, definitely. We hung out a lot, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did he go and see any, or in particular?
Oh, yes, he was there the whole time, I was only there one day. So, really, if he was on now, he could tell you even more than me. But, yeah.
Where is he? Where's he, Mom?
I don't think he's on right now.
Oh.
I don't see him.
Yeah,
I don't see Bill on. You know why? Because he's still over there. He's still at the hotel, I think. Yeah, I think he's probably trying to book a flight back home right now. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But, during the meet and greet, you guys, there was Stephen Bassett won an achievement award for this year.
So what was David talking about? David Wilcock talking about?
He spoke a little bit about Tesla technology, and I only caught the last 20 minutes. He was on for a good 2 hours, so, I missed a lot of it, actually. But
I must admit, I have spoken to David before on Coast to Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't that impressed with him, actually.
Okay, right. Not everyone is.
Well, not on what he was trying to talk about or cover or pretend to be an expert on, and that was synchronicity, which he's written a book recently about. Mm-hmm. And when I asked him quite a deep question about synchronicity, he gave me a very generic answer as though he didn't really know what I was talking about. So, he kind of brushed me off and didn't really give it it was a pretty nonsensical reply. And so I kind of he's gone down in my estimation since then, but I know he does good work and everything, but I just didn't, I think he was trying to stretch his areas of expertise a little too far on that one. Anyway.
It could be. I mean, you know.
He has a schism.
A schism?
One of his little words, yes.
What's
a little bit on the dark, it's like his scheme. It's like his diabolical plot. It's an old word that he's rehashed.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I think I do like some of what he talks about, and he does get some good information out there. But I just thought he was stretching it a little bit on that one because he just by his response really it was quite obvious. But I've heard him talk about other areas like I wasn't aware of his what was it? He mentioned an experiment or something he came across, sorry, with regards to a type of, what was it, a frog's DNA, eggs in one thing and something in another one, and he uses a laser to go from one petri dish to the other one, and it transmits the DNA or something. I thought that was quite interesting. I can't remember the exact nature of the experiment, but something about transmitting DNA via light or a laser, which I thought was really quite insightful.
Maybe Steve Kelly, you got a comment on that?
Can you even hear me?
Gosh, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear him?
You're really low, Steve.
Is that helping at all?
No, you're really low, brother.
Sounds like you're talking from under the duvet.
You might have the wrong mic checked or something like that. That happens.
I'm gonna see if I can.
He might be sick too. How are you feeling, Stephen?
Yeah.
Really?
Background?
You really can't hear this, huh?
You're low.
Might be the wrong mic, like Rex Fly said. Sounds like it.
Should be able to do this.
So I've been experimenting with some cooking today. I must admit, I'd say I thoroughly recommend people to make their own soup. I made a vegetable soup today. I was well impressed with myself. I am well trained, incidentally, so if there's any single ladies out there, I'm very well trained.
Well, can you virtually send us some soup over?
Well, my friends, I always give it back to my friend, my female friend.
Why don't you give your recipe and process real quick for everybody listening?
Well, this is it. It's don't buy supermarket soup ever again. It is so easy to make. All you need is a blender, and like today, all I used was 2 leeks, a bit of broccoli, a quarter of a cabbage, and an onion, and I made like 2.5, 3 liters of soup. And
Wow.
it tastes gorgeous, and it's like really healthy. And
So you're saying you blend it all together and do like a paste?
you just blend it for a few seconds, and then
Still chunky a little bit.
So yeah, still a little chunky, and put some stock cubes in as you're cooking it. But you only need to boil it for like 5 minutes. It takes literally 5 minutes to do it. I can't believe how easy it is. I can't believe I used to buy soup, and pay like for a can. It's pointless, and it's healthy, It's so healthy.
Soup sounds so good right now. I think I'm gonna look into making me some soup tonight. Actually,
You should.
Yeah, and if you've got bits of like off-cut meat or something, just chuck some off-cut, some chicken from the Sunday roast in there, and it's so easy to do. And it, like I say, it's my biggest pot that I use. It's like one of these African family pots, It's a huge thing. I filled that up, and it's like really chunky as well. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend that.
How long do you store in the fridge for? How long do you trust it in the fridge?
5 days max, I think.
5 days, yeah. Like freeze within 3 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, anything you've got left over, or actually when you cook it, you can divide what you're going to eat in a 3-day period and just freeze the rest. I'm totally with Wingman on this. Homemade soups are absolutely the best. In winter, I'll do it big time, and I'll take whatever vegetables I can get. I've got a probably 4 or 5 gallon stock pot. I'll whack them all in there with water. I'll make my stock. I've got an organic chicken farm down the road, and they've got a processing unit too. So I'll take all their carcasses and bones, whatever, their scraps, put them in a separate pot, water, and a touch of vinegar, because the vinegar will leach out the goodness that's in the marrow and the bone of the chicken, which will create your stock. I'll make 20 litres at a time, keep a bit for 3 days, and the rest I'll put in maybe half gallon, maybe quarter gallon. I'm thinking of litre containers, and freeze it, man, and that's my soup for a good month. SJ, I'm sure you do similar. Over.
Yeah, I can't wait until we start doing meetups, and then we can cook for like 20 or 50 people. I can handle 50 people. You can handle 50 people, right? We could have so much fun in that kitchen, man. I'll tell you, I'm hanging out with the cooks, and we're baking.
I'll
We're
do
cooking.
the chili, no problem.
Right on, right on. Oh, right
Yum.
on.
The Great Revolution
On.
Cook-Off.
And if
Coming-
we had
coming
to
to you
be able
soon.
to do like really good, yeah, we might be able to bring in something fairly unusual. I've got friends that hunt quite a bit still, and I could probably get about 20 pounds of elk or something.
Elk. How exotic.
Oh God, you can't believe how good elk can taste. Right?
How do you
Back
cook
me
that?
up, boys.
You throw that on the grill with barbecue sauce or what?
Oh, chili. Make a chili. Make spaghetti sauce. Use it for cooking. Whatever. You can grill it. It's absolutely superb roasted. Oh, man. Depends on which cut you get. The backstrap is always the hunter's, you very seldom get a backstrap, but you can get a good roast.
Well, save that thought maybe for the Great Revolution meetup, where we could have
Right
our
on.
own conferences and our own workshops. I would love to see that. I'd fly over to America to see that happen.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we did it when Air America got going. There were 24-hour, pretty much a lot of repeats in that 24. But it was a 24-hour network, and it brought all kinds of people out of the woodwork. This is around 2002, and there were various shows. And they had fan bases, and every one of them, for the first time, for a radio show that I knew of, they had blogs, just like a chat, except blogs were permanent. We saved them in an archive. Great conversations. I've got some great conversations, years of it. And good people and communities formed. It was the first time I'd seen an internet community form from scratch, because I was there on day one, and we had thousands of people there. We'd have shows that'd have 2,000 comments in 2 hours. I'll tell you, it was wonderful. It was financially supported, and I had really bizarre management problems, and ultimately folded. But I got to become good friends with Sam Cedar and Janine Garofalo.
Oh, her, the comedian.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I like Janine. She's great. She had a lot of courage. I originally found Air America because I had heard some of Janine's comedy, and I'd read a couple of news clippings. This is back before the presidential elections, when W got in. And she was quite courageous. She was, my research, a lot of it dates from really early in the 50s as a kid. And she was one of the first people I heard that was actually bringing out a lot of the big government failures, And she has a great sense of humor, so she can say things that stick. Anyhow, it was a great time, and we are we are version at least 4.0 or 5.0, We're starting to get pretty slick. We can talk with each other. What do you think?
Well, I was going to say, is there any reason why we can't set up a similar meet for us at Revolution Radio and the listeners?
Right on.
I'd love to do that, like I said.
We've actually gone, me and 383 get together, and just the two of us, we're one city away here in the valley.
You guys go fishing, I heard, right?
Oh, anytime. You know what I like to do? I like to make it an expedition, because if you end up over here, we're about 60 miles away from the beach, but we are close. Only a few minutes, about 15, 20 minutes away from the North Fork of the Fraser River. And what I like to do is take people to the ocean a lot of time, or the river, doesn't make a difference.
Mhm.
And what I do is I get these long bamboo poles that I have, and I rig a hook, fairly good size hook, like a number 6 or something. That's a salmon hook size, small salmon hook. I rig one of those with a tough piece of monofilament, and we poke pull. Man, you can't believe what'll try to grab something right off the bank, in 20 feet of water. Boy, you come up with some cool fish.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
poke pole?
Yeah, poke pull.
Uh-huh.
The Indians used it a lot when they were coastal fishing. It works best in jetties and reef areas where you're fishing saltwater fish, but it works in freshwater too. The main part of freshwater is having something that really smells like, oh boy, that smells good. I'm going to eat it right now. That's how you catch fish.
Oh, you're never going to be short of food then in your area, SJ?
Oh, yes. After a while now, from what I understand, by grace of TEPCO and a little bit of corporate greed on the U.S. General Electric part, we are soon going to have fish that we'll be able to see because they'll glow in the dark in the water, which will make fishing them much, much easier.
That sounds like a Magellan's fish. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Well, I'm a person that sort of visualizes things as people talk. I make images in my mind when they're speaking, and I'll tell you, I have to curtail my thinking about tragedy and disaster.
Okay.
It becomes too real for me. Eh?
Okay.
Yeah. You ever do that? People
Mhm.
talk, see the images form in your mind.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I hope those images are wearing clothes.
No. Half the time they aren't. That's the problem. Hey, God, I remember when I was a teenager. Oh, my God.
What?
Well,
You can't say close your eyes.
Well, they did studies. When people are a certain age, up to 90% of their thinking is fueled by what is it? By testosterone, right?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Go ahead.
I remember being part of the audience in one of these hypnotist shows once, and the hypnotist got a few people on stage, and one of the guys there, he hypnotized into thinking he had X-ray glasses. Now, the look on this guy's face when he snaps into his hypnotic state, and he started looking around the audience was quite incredible. You know,
Oh, my God.
yeah.
I'll tell you, hey, along that line, if you don't mind me interrupting, that's pretty funny. I wonder if you could hypnotize a person to say his sub-vocal thinking out loud.
Oh, that's a good one.
Never tried that
Yeah.
one in my practice.
Have you ever done that, Rectify?
No, I did a lot of time regression, a lot of dream regression. I did some stage acts like loosening of limbs so you can twist them around and, show people how, the mind can allow your ligaments and muscles to loosen so you can, turn an arm 180 degrees or what have you, no problem. Make blisters appear on the surface of skin. I did a lot of healing work for people that had real tragic accidents in the past and they're still suffering from migraines or what have you, but it was all related to that subconscious act that happened in the accident. But yeah, that's interesting. I have done induced language. You tell them, okay, you're going to speak beep bop, and you start speaking beep bop to each other, right? But that is very interesting. That
Suggestion?
suggestion to that experiment.
Hey,
Well,
you guys, we have Bruce McDonald with us.
Hi.
Hey, Bruce.
Just had to unmute there. Hi, guys. How are you?
Fine.
Yes.
I'm just going to listen attentively and add as I can if it's constructive.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
Well, if you feel like getting rowdy, even add the non-constructive part. Well, you know, we'll Indian wrestle you in the middle of the campground.
I only know Greco-Roman wrestling. I would probably lose at Indian wrestling.
Well, we can thumb wrestle. Actually, we can pretend to thumb wrestle. We'll put on we'll fake it and put on a good show.
What is the general theme of tonight's show?
Thought.
Sickness. Get down with the sickness.
Oh gosh.
So, have you guys ever wondered, with regards to hypnosis, why some people are more susceptible to it and others just you can't hypnotize them?
It's your faith. If you're a faith-based person and you have a strong mind and you know God is your only guide, then you're not going to be taken by man's word. And that's basically it.
See, I have a different
That's
theory.
a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it, but that's not completely it. Go ahead.
What do you think, SJ?
It's the psychology. A large part of it is the connection between your conscious and subconscious. And people that think a certain way can't hypnotize. People that don't have or have that separateness in their minds are more easily hypnotized.
So would you say we're probably harder to hypnotize than your average Joe?
No, as individuals, and it's an important thing to keep in mind, as an audience, as a group of participants, we range all over the spectrum. Is my appraisal, actually, of everybody that I know here, which is, I don't know how many, several hundred people.
You see, I think it has something to do with soul age. I know it sounds a bit odd, but I reckon the younger the soul, the more probably the likelihood is the more easier that they are to hypnotize. That's my theory, anyway.
I think that's just another way of saying presence or word of God inside you. Just a euphemism for the same thing.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
We've been joined by Nick. Nick, my brother, how are you doing tonight?
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
How
Nick.
you doing?
Hi, Nick.
Thanks a lot for having me on. It's nice to chat with y'all. About this hypnosis thing, I heard, and somehow, well, I hate to sound conceited and all this, but you know those laser things, those images where you have to really look to see the image, and then this image just pops out at you.
Magic eye pictures, you mean?
Is that what it's called? Okay, that's one thing. Well, I heard a researcher say that apparently the more intelligent you are, the harder it is for you to fool your brain into thinking those things. And I'll tell you, I can never see an image in those things. And for me, that kind of goes along with hypnosis. You have to hypnotize your brain in order to be able to see those things. And the more intelligent, so that would suggest the more intelligent you are, the harder it is to hypnotize.
Well, what a lot of people don't understand is there's not really someone hypnotizing you. You hypnotize yourself. They're just the guide.
Yep.
So that follows that the smarter you are, the harder it is for you to be hypnotized.
Not necessarily.
Well,
Not
I'll tell you what.
necessarily. It's more to do with your suggestibility. Over.
Right. And that follows along with what Mark Passio was saying, that hypnosis is two Latin words meaning hip or hidden, and gnosis, knowledge. And so hypnosis, if you're hypnotized, it means you've had knowledge hidden from you. Literally meaning the meaning of hypnosis.
It's one interpretation, certainly.
What happened to Passio's podcast, What on Earth is Happening?
It's all there. You can grab it.
He stopped doing it, though, at episode 143, did he not?
Completed his cycle. It's time for the rest of the world to catch up to him.
Right. Yeah. Great podcast, by the way, if anyone's not listened to it.
Hey, tell us about it. This is all new. I've never heard of Passio.
Perhaps the gentleman who introduced him would like that honor. If not, I'll do it.
Well, he did a series called What on Earth is Happening, and you can go to YouTube, and that's a good introduction to his stuff. Otherwise, his website, I'll get somebody else to give it. I think it's What on Earth is Happening.info or something. You can get his podcast. Also, he's got a video series on that website. You can just watch his, it's three-hour videos, or 3.5 hours. So it's like 10 hours of video to go through his whole presentation.
Nick, I believe it can be downloaded as an MP3 also. I'm sure I've got an MP3 and I've listened to him several times. And yeah, there's some really good info there. Over.
Where was he?
I think he was based out of Pittsburgh. And he a very interesting character in that he was an initiate in the whatever it's called, the Church of Satan. He was actually initiated by Anton LaVey himself, and then he turned around. So he basically had all of this insider knowledge, and he created this podcast series, which is almost like online learning. It's like a university course. And he basically teaches you step by step over about 260 hours, I believe. There's 143 podcasts, and each one is 2 hours. And he basically teaches you how humanity is being manipulated by these occult Luciferians. It's extremely informative. In some ways, he reminds me of Douglas Dietrich with his insight into their world.
Yep. Hey, Angela's here.
Welcome, Miss Angela Black, who's going to be debuting her show today.
Yesterday. I mean, today. Yesterday. Like, it was.
Yeah, West Coast, East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, but it happened today, yes. And thank you for the welcome. And Noreen,
hey, Angela, sorry, I had some technical problem trying to pull you in. I'm glad you got on. Thanks.
No worries. Thanks. I thought I called you, and I have no idea, but hey, it all happened. So, and thank you for inviting me.
Moment.
I can't see who's on the call. Who is that?
Vibe.
I thought it was Vibe. Hi, Vibe.
Of course, I have to, fluff for you. Woo, and on Studio B at 5 o'clock.
Yo, 5 o'clock. You'll be there, be square. Anyway, yes, I have rejoined the team. Thank you. And,
awesome.
Thank you. Yes, it had to happen. I think I was just ready all of a sudden. So, thanks so much for the welcome. And if we were still talking about hypnotism, I did have a fun story.
Tell it.
Okay. So, and hi, SJ, and hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
And hi, Rectify, and just hi to whoever's on this call that I can't see because I'm using my gadget.
Oh,
hello,
darlings. We've got Lisa Vibes. We've got Wingman, my Wingman. We've got Stephen Kelly. We've got Sir Big John. We've got Nick. We have SJ. We have Noreen Helpend.
Yeah.
And we have Bruce McDonald along with yourself and I.
Wow, what a big call.
Mm-hmm. It's a party. It's a sickness party. I've been sleeping all night.
Okay. Well, here's the I don't know. I had to turn off the live thing, and I don't know how long the delay was, but I did want to tell my hypnosis story, which is very interesting. I went to a lady. I was very depressed at the time, and I had, just some issues that I needed to deal with. So I found this lady. For some odd reason, I was seeking a hypnotist, and she and I seemed to vibe well. She was very insistent about payment up front, and that was fine. And, I can understand in a business and that type of thing. So I went the first time, and it was cool, and she was very impressed with how submissive or how, able to be hypnotized quickly that I was. And I'd never really done it before, but, I can join into the party. Sure, no problem. So anyway, she taking me into the next session, and I have a history as a singer, songwriter, and I had been in a lull for a bit, and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue performing and that type of thing at that time, which we're looking at about, 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, something like this. So she takes me into hypnosis or into the hypnotic land or whatever. I only stayed a couple of sessions because here's what happens. She tells me this story about when she also wanted to be a singer, and she found that her voice was used in a different way, and she said that she ended up becoming a professional clown and found herself singing to children and this type of thing. So I'm in deep hypnosis here, listening to this, and she's telling me this story. with a straight face, and that's cool. I mean, if you want to be a clown, be a clown. But I literally came out of hypnosis just busting up laughing because I could not, I just could not process what this woman was telling me that, in order to find my voice, or in order to find her voice, she became a clown. And I mean, sure, clowns, yay, whatever. But nonetheless, I'm picturing my hypnotist as a clown now, and now all of a sudden I had to pop out. I just started laughing. I busted up. She's like, you cannot tell the rest of these
I gotta welcome, the hijacker to the conversation.
Oh, hey,
Mr. Hijacker. Get back to the family, buddy.
Hey, Jagger.
Yeah, what a call. Wow, like a gang of 12 people. I'm just going to be in and out. But Angela called in, and so, Angela, are you going to rejoin the World Horizon team?
No, honey, I actually started a show today. And hello to you, Hijacker, and hello to everyone out there in Revolution Radio Land. I started my show today. I'll be on 4 days a week at 5 p.m. Eastern, which translates into 2 p.m. Pacific. Every weekday except for Wednesday for a 1 hour kind of a crush the news show. It's called At This Moment 2012, and today was the debut. So the morning thing was an interesting, transition in time and space, transcendence, everything. And that was fine. I loved being a part of the birth process of that great show that's now, one of our core morning shows, Dr. Robin Felkov with, Event Horizons. In the meantime, my show is going to be in the afternoon, and it seems to work out fine. So I covered some news topics today, some not so fun, some a little more fun, that type of thing. My usual, for an hour, 4 days a week.
No. No, Angela, you got the format of, when you stopped doing your show, I mean, you went right to the most important news, and you really found your stride, so that's good. So Deacon's only going to be doing an hour now? How is that working? What is
Actually,
the new
I'm on Studio B. Thank you for asking. Yes, Deacon's on Studio A, and today, interestingly, I believe he was injured and at the ER for hour 1 of his show. I come in at hour 2 on Studio B, so we're opposite each other, and that's fine. I told everyone I thought it was funny.
What happened to Deacon today?
He fell on the ice and injured himself, and I'm not sure of the outcome of that because my chat froze up.
Oh
so
my
I did
gosh.
not actually see.
You know what? This sounds like Mercury retrograde, right?
Yeah, baby.
Right, 211. I'm not going to forget
right.
it.
Yeah. So he's okay. He made it to the second hour of his show, that trooper. But yes, I will be on opposite Deacon John, and we are completely, pretty much two sides of the spectrum. I don't know how big the spectrum is, but we are definitely, different, in our deliveries. And so I was joking that nobody'd probably be listening to my show anyway, because, Deacon's been with us for what? Almost the entire time the radio station has been, on air, and, he's a staple. And so I certainly don't want to quote unquote compete, but I do think it's great that we offer a choice, and, I will have archives available. So if you find yourself listening to Deacon John on Studio A, that would be, I think he's on at 4 till 6 p.m. weekdays, and then I'm on Studio B at 5 p.m. Every day but Wednesday, which Dr. Robin Falkov has another show called Things They Don't Want You to Know. So I'm just happy to be back in the flow. It's great. It was almost a year, Hijacker and everyone, except for that stint I did with Event Horizons before it became Event Horizons. Other than that, it's been a year since I've had a show.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Angela, you mentioned you were a singer. You look spookily like Anastasia, the one who sang "I'm out of love." That's not you by any chance, is it?
No, I wish. I wish I had that money. Yeah, no, but thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's nice. I remember Anastasia. It was a way. She's about, 9 years back, something like that? Is that who you're talking about?
You look similar to her, actually. But so what have you done any gigs or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, I have. Oh gosh, this is not where I wanted to go with this conversation.
I wanted to know what's on Hijacker's mind, because he's always the breakthrough of the breaking
We'll get into that
news.
later, Wingman.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Jacker, what's going on, man?
Hello.
And he disappears. He only had a couple minutes. There he is.
I just jumped in. No, when you said you were coming back, Angela, I thought you were going to go back to Event Horizon, and if that show could start off with the news from Europe and Asia overnight. I mean, the first 30 minutes. That would be
It's
a
called
must.
World Horizons, wasn't it?
What's that?
That's what it was. Now it's Event Horizon. Yes.
Yeah. World Event Horizon, is it now?
I think it's just Event Horizons now.
Hump Day Gray Zone?
Right.
No,
So,
when Hijacker, when Angela ran it, it was World Horizons. Now it's Event Horizons. Yeah.
Right, I see. No, I was just calling in because I'm just, them opening them up with sort of medical info commercial type things, because I got a chance to scan the constellation of talk radio, both conventional and alternative, which, by the way, TalkStream Live, you guys have been in the top 10 for hours. You were actually number 5 of all those stations. So, anyways, we're just scanning, seeing what everybody was talking about, and man, there's so many disinfo and COINTEL pro ops out there. I mean, whole stations. Somebody's funding this stuff. No chemtrails. No Kennedy assassination. No 9/11. No aliens. No nothing. It's all. I've done the numbers. I'm a math person. I mean, you ought to hear all this stuff. Just try to deceive people out there. So no wonder when they run into Revolution Radio that you all, end up in the top 10 because, people know it's not all right. But
Fun fact of the day, the gray zone. It's a gray area. It's an intermediate area. It's a topic that is not clearly one thing or another. Go ahead, Hijacker.
Yeah, anyways, I just wanted to jump out because I can see you got a dozen people. So I'll be listening. If something else comes up, I'll jump back in.
Nice to hear you, Hijacker.
Roger that. Hey, we haven't heard from Vibes in a while. Vibes, you still with us?
I am. I'm listening intently.
Sweet.
I was thinking about these new shows. I happened to hear Davenport this morning for his debut show, which was fabulous. Very well spoken. It's great to have him on Revolution Radio. We're just taking off again. It's a good direction.
Speaking of new shows, I believe that you are the producer of SJ's show, which is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And that would be, when is that, you guys?
SJ, take it away. And I'm too young to know about Walter Mitty, okay, just for the record. But I looked him up. Okay, go.
Buddy.
I still haven't. The name of it, well, actually, I was going to call the show, at least occasionally, the Old Fart Hour.
That would have been awesome.
I think so. I mean, we were really struggling with the name. That is not the name of it. I have not solved the mystery of why my show is called The Life of Walter Mitty.
You have Justin to thank for that. Nighthawk said it was not on the schedule, and Justin flew off and did his Justin thing.
I listened to that show when you guys came up with that. That was hilarious.
Wow, Mom, it's WM.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, it's I could do it as the Walter Mitty show, but what I had and me and Vibes were planning on was stream of consciousness.
It would be nice if we had some participation. Once we get into a conversation, we think that people will call in and we will just see where it goes, and maybe we'll get lucky and find a solution out there.
Well, I called in from the bathtub yesterday morning. I was starting to get sick then, but I was soaking in some magnesium sulfate, some Epsom salt, trying to, work out the aches and pains.
Better? Are you better?
No, it got worse today. I was almost canceling the show. Noreen was going to pick up for me. Thank you, Noreen.
No problem. We're worried about you. Are you okay?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm a trooper. But
yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I wanted to tell you.
Just to join. Because Lady Horse and the girls were, they're like, come on, nobody calls us. What's going on? So I got in there from the tub. I announced in the tub. Go ahead,
Well, Epsom salt is excellent, It's good.
It is. It's really good for you.
Yeah, just
there's something.
It'll put you to sleep.
There's something you're doing wrong chemically there, Rectify. And a friend of mine swears by MMS.
Oh yeah, I have MMS.
And his little girl just came down with another fever that gives her seizures apparently he caught an infection from her. And I'm like, how about we prevent the infection instead of remedying it in the first place?
But then we wouldn't have pharmaceutical stocks.
Yeah, I know exactly
I guess
right.
we'll all die then, right? I guess we'd all be ejected into space in that case. Anyway, so what we can do with infections is, I say, eat figs. Eat a fig a day or 7 figs on Sunday or anything in between, and you will never get a flu, never get cold or any kind of infection, and never get cancer. Anybody can state otherwise, please say so, and I will stop recommending it.
Can you give me a little background on that? Like, yeah, please.
Figs are very alkaline. Go to Mercola.com and find out that figs are at least one of, if not the most alkaline foods ever known to man. And then you talk to any naturopath, and they will tell you, you alkalize your body chemistry, you can't get a cold or flu or cancer. But as far as Rectify goes, now it's a chemistry issue. It's not necessarily infection that we're talking about. It's something about...
There's a lot of foam, if that rings any bells. There's a lot of foam and a lot of blood vessels coming, like capillaries, coming out of different orifices.
So for every chemical reaction, there is a chemical anti-reaction. So you got to find whatever counteracts the chemical imbalance you've found.
Right. Have you ever had water make you puke?
Yes. When I had the flu, I was in bed. We're talking like 30 years ago, and spring water. What did it say?
A fig.
Before the fig a day.
Exactly. Yeah. Before I understood about alkalizing blood chemistry, I got a bedridden flu twice in my life. This was, I believe, the second time. And spring water literally tasted like bacon grease. And it was really hard to keep down. But I now realize at the time that actually that was the time to drink filtered or distilled water. Mm-hmm. When you're sick, that's the time to drink distilled or filtered. Otherwise, you need groundwater, right? That's the best for you. When you're healthy, that's when you should be drinking.
Yeah, in other words, yes.
I want to put out a prayer request for my uncle.
What do you think about alkalized water? Sorry,
if I can, put out a prayer request for my Uncle Ted. I just got news. His heart's failing. He's only in his middle 50s, and he's in ICU right now in Arizona.
Oh, no.
And, yeah, so Uncle Ted, everybody out there listening, I believe in the power of prayer. So Ted Gartner, heal. Get better. Please pull through it. Thank you, guys.
Has he been ill like this before, or is this something that just...
No, it just came on.
My gosh.
So it's like radiation again in my eyes. I mean, I can't deny it. I've talked about this on different shows, the Fukushima incident, and I've been shut down with it, It's like, oh, really? It doesn't exist? But I really do believe and there's nothing we can do about it. That's why it's not talked about.
I think so too. A lot of people on the West Coast in general are experiencing, these types of symptoms, which basically I'm thinking if the immune system has a weakness and then you get your radiation dosage, and don't quote me on that as that's funny or something, but with the, the high levels of radiation hitting the West Coast especially, everyone I've talked to pretty much is, not everyone, but a lot of people are acquiring, some type of illness because their immune systems may have had a weakness, a little open wall, a permeable wall.
That is absolutely true, you guys, and not to interrupt you, Angela, but also not just because of the radiation, but think about it. The GMOs, the chemtrails, it's just the bad energy, dirty energy, it's all just like, it's transcending on everyone. Anyway.
Yeah, it's trans-evolution. It's basically the elimination of the human race. But hey, nothing too heavy. But yeah, I do agree, Rectify, that radiation has a lot to do with it. And what's interesting is that
it attacks
creates
heart
like
tissue.
a superbug.
It attacks muscle tissues first and foremost. So that's what the case. So you're going to see heart failure, lung failure, respiratory problems, and that's what we're seeing. I'm seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Right after Fukushima, we had, I was on the global incident report every day for 2 years. And, I continually watched that Virginia's levels of radiation were higher than California's, and I just kept wondering, how can this be?
It's a swoosh
But,
in the air, and it just
well,
depends on the currents.
as Jay told me, think about it. It hits the mountains and it skips over, and so you may not, in Colorado on the other side of the mountain, they might be fine. They might be getting completely missed with all this. But the point, I guess what I was wrapping up to is my husband had a picture taken of him and his band, and there was red showing up on like 3 or 4 of these people, but not all of them. And we don't see it when we look at them. So we thought maybe there was a
showing up
filter.
like a dust over them?
Like try taking a picture, just like a regular picture, and see if there's any extra redness on your face.
What? That is
I know that sounds crazy,
right.
but just try it. Just try it.
We're about to go to a break, though. You guys are all listening to Revolution Radio. This is the Gray Zone Roundtable. You're welcome to join us. Excuse me for not giving out the number, 347-688-2902. That is 347-688-2902. We're going to be going to a break. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. We love you all. We are listener supported. FreedomSlips.com. Chat room rocks.
Listening to Revolution Radio.
Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable. Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener supported radio. No corporate ties, corporate duct tape dictating our freedom of speech. And it shall remain that way as long as we are supported by you. Join us, 347-688-2902. Enter the Gray Zone.
Wow, how long have you had that intro? That is so cool. Is that new?
We put it together maybe a couple months ago.
Really? I don't recall hearing it, but it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wingman. You want to throw...
Yeah, sure. No, I was about to. Just to remind listeners, you're listening to the Gray Zone at Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com. Please remember that we are listener supported, so if you haven't already made a contribution and you'd like to alleviate some of that guilt and feel good for the rest of the week, then please visit us at freedomslips.com and click on the support page. So, what were we talking about, guys? Where were we?
I'm all boggled now because of my uncle, the news, so...
Figs.
I was just trying to... Yeah, figs. We were talking about figs and congenitive heart failure and, yeah.
Well, we have hearty fig plans now. Okay, I'm done.
Hearty figs. There we go. Lisa, you are the brightness of my day. I love you.
If I may, because...
Go ahead,
Bruce.
Right on,
Yes.
Bruce.
If I may, because the gentleman who was speaking earlier about figs seems to have some medical expertise or insight, or health, or I suspect homeopathy. But I had a very, very shake-me-up story last week. I had a friend call me in his early 50s. Now, this fellow is literally the cleanest living human being I know. No coffee, no alcohol. For the last 10 years, he's been a vegan. For the 10 years before that, he was raw food only. And he and his wife only drink Kangen water at home. They have that $4,000 Kangen water filter out of Japan that takes the pH level to 9.5. So I hadn't heard from him for a while, and I got a call out of the blue, and he said I was diagnosed in December with prostate cancer with a PSA level of 700, which is, I think, the prostate antigen count, which is the proteins produced by the prostate gland, which are an indicator of cancer. So normal is 0.5 to 1. He had 700.
Now, do you think someone should be told that they have cancer when they have cancer, or not be told? Because there's the will to live and the will to die. And the mental part of it is what I'm concerned about, is your subconscious is very powerful. We were speaking of hypnosis earlier. So for a doctor to say, you've got 2 months to live, I could see you degrading and dying in 2 months then. But if no one ever told you that, maybe you've lived 2 years without even being diagnosed.
Possibly, and it's an excellent question, and I have an answer that kind of splits the difference. He also had stage 4 bone metastasis. And
oh, no.
Yeah, so his journey to the emergency room began being woken up in the middle of the night with excruciating lower back pain. So it took about a week to see the oncologist. I'm Canadian, by the way, so this is the Canadian medical system. And, the oncologist basically, patted him on the back and said, make your peace and give your loved ones a hug. You're done, buddy. He didn't say that, but that was the tone of the meeting that was conveyed to me. So what's interesting is, how did a fellow like this even get cancer? And number two, how is he going to deal with it? So to answer your question, he doesn't know for sure he has cancer. They're telling him he does, but he refused the biopsy. And his rationale was it would puncture the tumor if the tumor was there and spread the cancer cells out into his body. And the oncologist admitted, yes, that this is a risk of a biopsy, specifically a prostate biopsy. So here's his course of treatment, and I don't know whether it's working fully, but he's in good shape and he's continuing to work and everything is going forward. He decided to tackle this with cannabis oil. And previously, he did not.
My language. I mean, I don't necessarily take it, but I'm a big fan of this particular solution. Please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's the nature of a round table. You're cooperating, not interrupting. So his PSA level is down to normal 1 now.
Awesome.
And his homeopath has done all of the specific tests for her perspective on the disease, the level of vitamin D in the blood and everything is looking pretty good. I think he has to extract all carbohydrates and glucoses out of his diet, if that's possible. But I couldn't believe it. He's in his early 50s in phenomenal health. Could easily have withstood radiation had he decided to go that path, but he didn't. So there's a little cannabis oil story. There really is something to this. This is firsthand.
Cool. Great.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, first of all, probably the reason he got cancer in the first place is he didn't follow through nutritional, biological / life path. You can call it whatever you want. He was trying different things during the course of his life. He switched to different sources of things like fundamental things like water.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, these changes will bring about dramatic changes in your biochemistry, which can have unpredictable results. So you need to be able to understand these things as early as possible in life. Now, when you make these changes, things like suddenly changing to raw foods versus whatever diet you had prior to that, the more raw, the better. So what you can do is just start eating more raw foods. Keep eating those cooked meats, of course. We pretty much need to cook the meats. You can eat some sushi from sushi bars that you trust, that you're going to get properly prepared such products. But a lot of people are suddenly switching, cutting out all of a sudden all these cooked meats. And that's going to have serious repercussions on your body chemistry. Now, Rectify talked about how if you have cancer, should the doctor tell you? Of course, man. Now, what you're not distinguishing from is when a doctor says you only have 6 weeks to live. Now, that's a huge leap from you have cancer to you have only 6 weeks or 6 months to live, you know? So you need to be as informed as possible as what's going on in your body. But what you don't want to do is suddenly trust everything your doctor says about your health. Mm-hmm. You know more about your personal health than your doctor does. So there's a couple of things that I needed to say about that.
So maybe the doctor should refrain or ask, would you like my estimate as to how long you might have?
Well,
just
like,
you know, if you're having a kid and you ask, would you like to know the sex of the boy? I think maybe they should approach it that way, perhaps, no?
You need to have a serious dialogue with whoever is involved in your health, not just your doctor, but your nutritionist, your herbalist, everybody who is involved in your health. You need to have a full dialogue with all the way through. You don't just ask people for advice. Don't follow anybody. Follow yourself as far as, you know, what you're going to do in your life course. Nobody is an expert on your life except you.
Agreed.
There's a great website called cancertutor.com. Cancer tutor, like a tutor for your math or whatever, but so it's cancer.tu. I'm sorry, not dot. Cancer Tutor, so cancertutor.com. It's a great website for alternative healing methods. Also, my friend's website is called I Cure Cancer. Not that he cures it, but the I being you if you have cancer, and it's an I, a small letter I, with the words curecancer.com afterwards. And he's done a documentary and interviewed some really great people. He's a very dear friend of mine. I know him in real life and online and on Facebook, and we actually did a couple of shows together. And there's some really great information out there. He's a big health advocate as far as cannabis oil is concerned, as far as blending is concerned. You know, he's doing a lot of green blending. He just basically took off 35 pounds by going straight into blending, as opposed to just juicing. Yeah. And he was a world champion kickboxer before, so he's super ripped. And then he just hadn't seen that in a while, and then basically in about 4 weeks or 6 weeks or something, dropped like 40 pounds and is literally feeling better than he has, except for about a food poisoning, because he does eat from time to time other foods, and apparently something went wrong the other day and he's been a little ill. But other than that, which is kind of, ironic, but he's got some great information. You can find him on Facebook as G.I. Jacqueline, and, there's just everything that you're speaking about. Who was that? Was that Nick speaking? I can't see who's speaking when they're on my stupid app on my tablet. Who was talking about cannabis oil just a second ago?
Oh, it's Bruce.
Oh, Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Yes, and I just sent you a friend request, as well as everyone on the call. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, you're speaking a great language. I think it's very important for people to become incredibly informed on all treatments, et cetera. I personally think that, if you add, if you open up a wound that, or open up a cancer cell, and put oxygen into it, if that's the case, or whatever's in the air these days, that it may spread quicker. And I also think that, for instance, mammograms may not be the best solution. If you have breast cancer, for instance, let's just pretend that a cancer cell is like a grape. And if you squish that grape, it's going to spread everywhere. So a mammogram is a big squisher. So I'm a big advocate of thermogram. If you're looking to test your breast cancer, NES or whatever, there's a heat sensor, there's a thermogram which won't smush whatever existing possibility is in your breast tissue.
It never made sense, that procedure.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
It's painful. And I mean, if you have cancer cells, and they're manipulated somehow, that could actually probably worsen the cause. I mean, this is of course my theory, but these are things that I find very, very informative and interesting. And of course, here on Revolution Radio, as you were suggesting, Bruce, in general, and all of us here, is that, we encourage people to do your own research, look up stuff. Get as informed as you can if you're interested in a subject or if you're afflicted with a disease, etc. I mean, seriously, just find out all options and do talking. Talk to people, find out opinions, and then come to your own conclusion. And I think I'm done with my rant. So hopefully that was somewhat informative.
So, with regards to opinions, does anyone here have any particular health tips or with regards to any ailments, or perhaps you want to discuss what
I do. Something that
supplements
just
you might
happened to me.
take, or what you would recommend? I mean, I personally take oregano oil and hemp oil, and I have a digestive problem that I've had for the last year, and a very nice guy called Dude Guy put me onto some, he recommended liquid chlorophyll, and these are all to kind of clean out my digestive tract. With liquid chlorophyll, baking soda in the evening, he said as well, and something called bentonite clay. So I've ordered some of those off eBay. I'm waiting for those. I'm going to try those. But so does anyone else want to discuss some tips or what they say?
I had a wart on my leg. It was I don't know, I'm having these weird infections. Maybe it's because I live in California. Anyway,
Wait, are we talking like scabs and stuff popping up everywhere?
No, this was a wart. Anyway, but I used.
Oh, you
apple
said
cider,
warts. Okay.
Yeah, I had apple cider. I used apple cider vinegar, and a natural wart solution, which also contained some kind of herb, and then and tea tree oil. And you know what? It did start to go away. It was kind of painful and weird, and now it's almost gone. So those things work. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
I have done the bentonite clay colon cleanse, and it is phenomenal. I think it's a bit more drastic if you're a meat eater. I'm a vegetarian, so if you eat meat, it'll clean out more. But I started the colon attention about a decade ago with the Master Cleanse by Stanley Burroughs, the lemonade diet it's called, which is
maple syrup.
Yep, precisely.
Yeah.
Maple syrup, cayenne pepper, and half a lemon squeezed into an 8-ounce glass. I think the longest I went was 17 days, and I just felt
17 days?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I'm about 160 pounds now, and after that fast, I was down to 143.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just felt fantastic. It was. The strangest thing is to stop chewing for 17 days. We do it every day. But it's really a remarkable thing to not chew anything for 17 days or even 10 or 11 days. The sort of effect that has on your mindset, you feel like an angelic being who's just walking an inch above the earth, like you're not even here. And of course you're not really excreting that much after the first 3 or 4 days. You do a saltwater cleanse every night, and after about 3 days, it goes through in about 20 minutes for me. So that liter of salt water will come out the other end in about 20 minutes. And as you go further and further in the cleanse, it's completely, I don't need to be too graphic here, but it's completely undiluted. It looks exactly the same coming out as it did going in. That's how clean your colon gets.
Now, may I ask a question? What was that exact, measure? What were the exact measurements of your? Yeah.
Well, it's really arbitrary. I've done it 24 times in the last a decade or so. But the formula is 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 8 ounces of distilled water, and half a lemon squeezed.
And any cayenne in there?
Yes, cayenne pepper. You could probably also substitute turmeric. I did the same fast in Costa Rica. I had my own lemon tree in the back of the house I was renting. I thought this is a perfect opportunity, but I could not find maple syrup anywhere, so I went online, and molasses is okay to substitute, and even better than molasses is pure sugarcane extract. So I did it that way, and I had a great fast in Costa Rica as well. But you can take as much maple syrup as you want. I mean, you can do it without losing any weight. I mean, but maple syrup's got to be one of the most expensive foods on the market.
Yeah, if you're going with the right kind, I believe that the higher, like grade A is the not so good maple syrup type thing, and then grade B or grade C. I think grade C is kind of like gold or something.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. So people would misconceptualize that on a regular basis. I would always think that grade A would be the best. I mean, not that I paid attention because of course grade A was the only one available at the regular supermarket for so long. But you would definitely want to go with an organic, higher, letter grade in the maple syrups. If I'm anywhere in the ballpark there, I think. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then how much cayenne are you able to do? Because that maple syrup does balance out. Because I have a sensitive stomach. I love cayenne, but it's really hard for me to digest it. But that maple syrup with the cayenne, they basically kind of balance each other out. So how much cayenne were you using? And did you heat it?
Sometimes I do boil the water like a tea, and sometimes I drink it cold. And very often I'll just interchange them throughout the same fast, depending on my mood. Wow. And I started out, the first time I did it, I could not take very much cayenne pepper. 10 years later, I'm just dumping the stuff in. It's just, cayenne pepper and turmeric are really, really good for you.
Yeah. I use turmeric,
Yeah, and you want that stuff running through your system as much as possible. I cook with both all the time in my lentils and in my beans and everything, all the legumes I cook on my vegetarian diet. Another thing I do every night is I have a glass of raw organic honey and apple cider vinegar.
Nice.
Yay.
And that just cleans me out. Now, I'm 47, and I haven't seen a doctor in, I think, 27 years or longer.
Wow.
Wow,
that's impressive. I can't remember the last time I had a cold.
So has anyone else here tried fasting before? I've tried it once, and I must admit, I support what you say, Bruce. It was fascinating. I felt so much more energetic and alert, and there was all these, I just felt better generally. So I definitely recommend. And incidentally, is turmeric the yellow powder? Is that right?
Turmeric is the yellow powder. I suggest you stay with cayenne for the master cleanse, but after you've been doing it a couple times a year for a decade or so, you get a little more creative, and I interchange things sometimes. Right. I won't do it.
I think with turmeric, you can put that in with rice, can't you? It's quite a nice addition to it yellows the rice, doesn't it?
Yes.
Turmeric is delicious.
If you want to save money on going to the dental hygienist and getting a teeth cleaning, you can also mix water or hydrogen peroxide and turmeric. Brush your teeth, and you will not believe what your teeth look like when you're done. It's mind-boggling. Well, so one of the things I've done in the last decade is almost everything that I used to do with some commercial product, I have found in the last decade or so an alternative way to do it that's cheaper, more efficient, and better. Yeah.
Okay, does anyone else have any examples or tips?
I've gone on a 2-week fast before. That's right.
And how did you feel, Rick?
2 weeks. Well, at the time, what happens is you get fatigued. The first, I'd say, 48 hours, it's very difficult. But after that, you adjust. Your stomach, first and foremost, is very elastic, so it'll shrink. And that's good for dieting techniques, people. If you want to get on a diet, it's about getting the fork out of your mouth, first and foremost. So you want your stomach to shrink a little bit. And that's what happens when you go on such a long fast. But how I felt after, you cleanse. It's a purging, I guess is the word I would use.
Yeah.
A very good complement as well to prayer or meditation. You'll find, if I can sneak in 30 minutes to an hour of meditation every day, I find somehow that when I'm on the fast, I'm able to find 2 or 3 hours to meditate in 2 or 3 different sittings. It just seems to go with the fasting, and I guess that's why it's all through the Bible and religious scriptures throughout the world. The fasting and the inner life just go together in some way. If you need a question answered, make a postulate that you want it answered and you want a path shown to you in life. Start a fast and do your meditation or your prayers in the morning and the evening, and in 3 days you'll get your answer. Maybe a bit longer if it's a really tough question.
I want to pass the mic around a little bit. We'll go through our entire group here, and it's an awesome group. We have Vibes. I'll give you the mic first, and we got Wingman, the Wingman. Steve and Kelly has been quiet. Big John's been quiet. Nick, he's been there with the figs. SJ, been very quiet, not like SJ at all. But let's go in that order. So Lisa, input, por favor. And we'll go to Wingman.
I just spoke, so pass it to SJ if you want.
No, we're going to Steve and Kelly.
Okay.
Steve and Kelly, John, Big John.
Yeah, man, I'm here. We had a few of us, I think, after the last session last week talked about this, and Dude Guy was with us. And I'm very proud of all of you. It comes down to having your blood pH neutral. You don't want it too acidic, for sure, is a bigger problem than having it alkaline.
So that's the number 7?
It's the number 7.
Okay.
Now, I was talking to you guys. What I've been doing for 2 years now is every night before I go to bed, I use organic baking soda. I put a tablespoon of that in probably an 8-ounce glass of water, mix it up, and it keeps my blood pretty much neutral. Although I have some physical problems in old age, aches and pains and bone issues, I have never had a cold, the flu, or a virus of any type for over 20 years now. So that works for me, and we're all different. Our metabolism is different, our eating habits are different, but keeping the blood neutral, I believe, is very, very important. Did we get all that without dropping out? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, and now I just want to make one other statement in regard that you will now see, my chat name used to be JMJ12. I've retired it and become Big John. Now, some people in chat will get narky about it and go, whatever. I need to explain the situation. I've changed my Skype too. I'll always be John, but my AK now is Big John again. I was approached by the Southern Cross Network here in Australia to go on mainstream FM radio to do a segment on alternative thinking. No, it's no big deal. It's got nothing to do with me. I've been hounded for a good year now, but I was at a growers meeting a week or maybe 10 days ago, and I opened my mouth about what was going on, and the general manager of the station was there and said, listen, I'd like you to do a spot. So I've decided to take it on, but JMJ12 was not an appropriate nick because I will be using Skype. Plus, I'm going to be censored. Everything I do has to be pre-recorded and looked at by their
I'm sorry for that.
lawyer to see, if there's any complications with what I'm saying. I thought about that.
It doesn't happen
man,
like that here at Revolution Radio.
No, yeah, I know. That doesn't matter to me because at least I'll get to excite some people and get them to look at something a bit different. I've told them that there will be certain sites, and those of you who know me for a long time, I've been in Camelot for a while, and I'm a member in a lot of different forums, and I spend a lot of time here on Rev Radio because for me this is number one. And I've told them, look, I will be promoting alternative networks and radio stations, and they've said, okay, we'll cop that, but the legal department will look at what you say. I said, no problem with that. If it's too much for me, and they're saying, well, maybe we'll go national with a segment, or you'll have your own show in the future. And I'm not in it for that, but if we can get that, this station is brilliant, but we tend to regurgitate the numbers out there who are already into this field. I would like to see us pull in some sheep from outside into the station, because once they get here, they'll go, oh my God, what's been going on? and they'll be with us for a long time. So hopefully we can achieve some good stuff for all of us. I've had my bit over.
Couldn't agree more. And I love the name, the new and improved Big John. I used to have an uncle called Big John, so I love the name. He very affectionate. He used to one of the things every time I used to see him, he used to say, "What are you going to do to your mum when you get older?" And I used to say, "Hang her by the tongue." That just gives you some idea of the relationship between me and my mum. But yeah, no, I love the name, and yeah, cool.
I'd like to clarify that there will never be any problem with calling you Ozzy John.
Thank you, Nick. Wonderful. Hopefully we can get more of us. Like, we've got a pretty big Australian contingent, really, I think, for the numbers. We've got, I'll say 25 million. It's probably 23 or 24. But, you know, you've got states there with more people than we've got in this entire country. Yet our country is as big as the continental United States, which is a good thing. And you Americans are awake, and I'd like to see more of you, and I'm sure that's what the station's about. Hawk, man, he's done a wonderful thing. I know people talk a lot about, but who's actually, this station started a long time ago, and there was a few. I know there was Vo, Bear, and Tones, and Justin, some of the old stalwarts in here that have been here for a long time, and they put their money where their mouth was. And I don't know many people who'd actually do that. SJ's been around forever on many networks, on many stations, and he still comes up with great, he's a brilliant orator. I don't want to go through you all and sound like I'm peeing in your pocket, but it really is a wonderful place, and it's only become better and better and stronger. Over.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you for that, John. Big John, sorry.
Hey, guys, is this thing working?
Yes. We hear you.
Yes, Stephen, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, I'm going to let you all go, but
You're
okay,
live.
real quick. 2 health tips. You're talking about the mouth, the coconut oil pulling with coconut oil, wonderful treatment. Everybody needs to just look into that. And as far as the cancer treatment or the cancer searching for it, everybody needs to look into having at least once a ultra-fast CT scan, because that is a high-resolution map of your entire body, and it will give you a heads-up on any development long before it becomes a problem, down to the tiniest thing.
Good tip. Anyone else?
CT.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I don't have anything on prostate cancer for you guys, but do your own research. You know, I've been told that apricot seeds, will cure cancer because it's just dead cells dying, and you just need to keep that alkaline body going, like you were saying, Wingman.
Something about the cyanide in those seeds. That's what
Right,
I
the
heard.
arsenic is what I was warned of, and that's why you need to check into it. You start at 1 a day, and you work up to 7 a day, and I have some good stories. But I have not tried it personally. I just eat them a couple of times a day, and if I have cancer, I don't want to know about it.
Right. None of us are doctors here. We're not giving any medical advice. We're stating our minds and opinions. The fact
It's not
of
medical
our own
advice,
lives.
it's health advice.
Don't you
But
all
if
feel
you-
healthier talking about this?
If you want to worry about prostate health, look up Dirk Benedict's story. Dirk Benedict. DIRK Benedict.
I'm definitely getting figs tomorrow at the grocery store.
You just plant a fig tree.
Me too. That's where I was going.
I will in Costa Rica, but it won't grow in Canada, I don't think.
I must admit,
In BC, figs grow. There are already fig trees in BC.
Well,
British Columbia.
I'm an East Coaster. I'm here in Toronto. I mean, we consider BC almost like another country. I think the continent should be split east-west. I have much more in common with New Yorkers and.
Where would you put Winnipeg?
Good question. I'd give them to Montana. They can just go with
Oh my goodness, we've been sold.
Montana, or North Dakota can take them.
Well, North Dakota has its own bank now. Let's
You know
not,
what- you know where I would want to go? I would want to go to Nunavut.
Yes. I hear it's very beautiful up there. I had a friend who did a semester of teaching up there after he finished teacher's college about 15 years ago. It's unbelievably beautiful, the aurora borealis, the northern lights and everything. A little bit sad though, a lot of like really kind of bad things going on in the Aboriginal culture there. I'm very similar, I'm sure, in Australia, as Big John would attest, with the Canada and Australia have very similar sort of deplorable.
It's like Christopher Columbus warfare going on.
I just really
Well,
realized
we're
that
still
that's
run by the
going on
Queen,
in
right?
Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here we are. Yep, we're still under British monarchy.
Well, hey, the United States is also under the British monarchy.
Yep.
The only difference is we admit it.
Speaking of Aborigines, the Aboriginal culture, I really didn't, I have to really inform myself about the Canadian version of that, but I did want to just do a quick interjection, that I remember reading, about a year ago, how do I put this? The Catholic Church coming in and invading the prayer lines, the actual indigenous prayer lines from the Aboriginal culture, and it just kind of taking over that entire a natural, like I said, indigenous, original process of the cultures that existed there before they were colonized. Whatever that word means these days. And I just, I'm going to have to look up the Canadian issue with that, because it didn't even occur to me. So does anybody have any information right now that they could elaborate on? Because I know what happened in Australia, and it's deplorable, and I know that there's a big issue with that in general between the races, but I had no idea. I mean, everyone thinks that Canadians are just nothing but polite, at least over here. So please.
I would love to do that, but I feel as though I'm hogging the airtime a little bit. So does anybody else, do we want to hear this?
No, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
Bruce, please go ahead, man. I'm interested in what your Aboriginal culture's done over there.
Right now they're thriving and strong. We often have standoffs that last for months between Aboriginal protesters and police. We had one just 6 weeks ago in Fredericton, New Brunswick, over fracking, and 2 or 3 of the local bands out there blocked the highways. Very, very militant Aboriginals, and they're coming from a history very similar to Australia's. Probably the best movie made about residential schools is an Australian film called Rabbit Proof Fence, and if you want to get that on DVD, just a phenomenal film. You'll cry. Even no matter how hard your heart is, you will cry when you watch this movie. Same thing in Canada. We had a big Truth and Reconciliation thing about a year or 2 ago. The residential schools were horrible. We have a fellow who's become quite prominent in the global alternative movement now. Oh my goodness, his name escapes me.
Arnett.
Ken Arnett. He used to be an Anglican minister, or United minister, I think, and he uncovered a lot of facts about what had happened, the murders and child rapes going on at the residential schools. He was kicked out and really kind of vilified by our system, and has survived and is bringing this message forward. I know that he interviews every once in a while with Alfred Weber. But to close up, they're just unbelievably strong, the Aboriginal culture here. Probably a third of, I have about 200 Facebook friends, and probably a fifth of them are Aboriginal. They're just endemic to Canada, and I love being a part of that culture, or having that culture in my country.
Bruce, could you repeat the name of that film again, please?
Rabbit Proof Fence.
Rabbit Proof Fence. Okay.
Yes, and Big John can tell you what the Rabbit Proof Fence is in Australia. It's quite something. But
Bruce,
yeah,
isn't there some kind of accusation against the Queen of England that was involved during a visit to one of these residential schools? She went off with, her and Prince Philip went off with 10 kids, and they've never been seen since.
Yes, that is true as far as I understand it, and I have strong connections in the Aboriginal community. They have confirmed it.
I've heard of that. Yes, I remember reading about that about a year ago. I think it was a lot longer than that that had happened, but I remember it is, you know, God knows what they're doing, you know, to these individuals. Do you think they killed them? Do you think they're doing experimentations? You know, what do you think?
I think it's over on the dark side, you know, and I don't like to, I think it's more this Illuminati stuff where they're used for sex ritual, they're used for gratification of depraved people, and,
do you believe they use their blood to make matzo balls?
That thing.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's,
that's a Jewish, Arab thingy, but that's
and then, you know, I've read, you know, conspiracy theories of, then they sell the child bodies off to processed foods to become burgers and sausage.
McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't underestimate the presence of evil in our time. It seems to be.
Amen.
But I think the great thing about this is that it's visible, and visible evil is, although it's hard to deal with, it's like a 12-step program. And like Big John was saying, you know, more new people have to come to Revolution Radio.
Yeah, you know what? With human ingenuity, visible evil is dead evil.
Yeah.
So is rabbit-proof fence 3 minutes long, or is it longer?
No. It's a feature-length film with Kenneth Branagh, the British actor. It's absolutely.
LetMeWatchThis.com. I didn't just say that.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. They used to take them. They used to go into the remote reserves, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in gunboats, and abduct the children with the parents, the mothers screaming. There was a royal decree, legislation was passed, and this is how they were to be assimilated. And I mean, it's really a global phenomenon now. It's not just the Commonwealth. I mean, Brazil's in on it. Everybody's in on it now. And, you know, all my animal rights friends, yes, I love animals too, but, you know, my first order of priority is human beings. I mean, there's your canary in the mine shaft now, the global decimation of Aboriginal culture. And why? Well, number one, they're completely autonomous. There's your first clue right there. And so the tentacles of this evil begin in a codependence. And it usually begins with a benefits package. Well, we'll give you socialized medicine. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. And then you're in this relationship, and you can't get out of it.
Yeah, it dates all the way back to the Hittites with the vessels.
Yeah. What's fascinating about Aboriginal culture is, you know, their quality of life was quite good. I mean, they could live as, barring accidents, you know, falling off a rock cliff in Ontario or something. I mean, they lived into their 70s and 80s, and they like 200, 300, 400 years ago. And I mean, there's no medicine, there's nothing except what they have. So how did they do that? And how did they live without all the fears that we lived with? You know, so, yeah.
Well,
John, can you tell us much about the Aboriginals in Australia? Because I know they're going through a particularly hard time at the moment, especially alcoholism. Is that right?
Yes, Wingman. There is a serious problem with alcoholism, and the bigger picture, unfortunately, is even more distressing in that some of the outback stations, and you know, once you move probably 100 miles away from the coast, you're in bushland, but then when you move into the centre, you're in desert. Now, these communities, although have been given dollars to look after themselves, the government trying to pay them off, they don't understand how to use money as a tool, so they'll drink it all, and when the money runs out and they can't buy alcohol, they'll start drinking and sniffing petrol. Gas, you would call it.
Well, and also, you know, the body, the natural processing, where, you know, the Anglo-Saxon body had processed alcohol for a long time. You know, whatever, the wine and this and that. But these indigenous cultures had not been introduced to alcohol until the Anglo brought them in. And I mean, this is of course me speaking slightly off the cuff, but what's interesting is the same thing with them. And I'm not sure what the proper name to call the Eskimo is, but the Alaskan indigenous culture as well. These people, lived on their certain diet and had existed, for centuries and centuries, and then now they're dying a younger death. They're being paid not to work. They're being paid not to go to school by the government. They're being paid to stay in there. It's more effective, cost effective for them to basically sit inside, drink, and then I believe gather berries for X amount of. And I apologize if that's some type of a derogatory statement. It's not. My son lived up there for a while and he had witnessed this, and so he just found that it was very interesting because their bodies were not meant, or at least had not, quote unquote, evolved into processing alcohol the way the Anglo body does, which I'm not saying that it's any
better.
better.
Wait a minute, hold on about Anglos and stuff. I think that there are certain ethnic groups all over the globe besides indigenous. I'll give you examples. The Irish and the Korean people seem to have, and Samoans seem to have problems processing alcohol.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just alcohol; it's also sugar. When you're an alcoholic, actually, just eating like a bologna sandwich on rye will cure your craving for alcohol. And yes, Aboriginal and Aborigine people will. Their bodies react very poorly to all of these.
To high sugar rates,
grains. It's not just sugar, but it's refined grains in general.
Can I interject something on that?
Right.
We have a problem here where I live in Virginia with the gluten. Everyone is dropping wheat. I mean, it's the mainstream grocery store has got like a whole aisle of rice products now. Are you guys finding that in your areas?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have in the last few years I've become gluten and wheat and gluten intolerant. Why do you think it's happening, Vibes?
There's a few different, ideas out there, and I don't really have any proof of one way or another, but I know that they're also causing blotches and red spots on bodies.
Yeah, it's because people, there's a thing called genetics. It's a new science, I understand, called epigenetics. And that's your genetic predisposition to react to different, things in the environment, in your diet, in everything.
They're using nanotechnology to do all this to us, though.
That's another angle, of course. But from the beginning, like wheat has been around for a long time. And I've been saying to various people that I talk to online, on the air, whatever, has wheat been designed to hurt us? Because
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
These days it has. I mean, it's not your grandfather's wheat.
Hijacker, he's back. You got something? What's up, bud?
Yeah, I got an idea.
What's your idea? And why do people put R's at the end of A's?
Geography.
Yeah, I guess that's the answer. Go ahead, Hijacker.
Okay, so it's only because I'm looking at like 10, 12 really smart people. They all got IQs clicking over 130, 140. And so I've been sort of scanning the airwaves, all the different alternative shows, just wondering why Revolution Radio stayed in the top 10 for so long on an open round table.
Because we're so good.
Right. So I got a chance to go and listen to different people, different radio stations. I mean, way down the list. They might only have 5,000 listeners or whatever. Right. So I got this idea. I'm thinking, do you know what? The whole mainstream media is breaking. It's all going to this alternative talk show format in radio. Many of these people are shrills. They're put up to basically debunk, whole stations. Guys like
or
us,
half-truths.
Of course.
Right, are set up just to say 9/11 could never be kept a secret. It was really 19 guys. Unbelievable
ABC,
stuff I'm hearing.
CNN, the Fox, blah, 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 BBC, go on and on, yeah.
Right, so I'm listening to this stuff and I'm really getting mad and I feel like calling in, but I know better than to do that, to rip them apart, because I really did want to rip a lot of them apart. But then I got this idea. What if Revolution Radio, part of the open round table, were to take all these big brain people like we are, and we become raiders, like Revolution Radio raiders. And we actually, while we're on Skype, 10, 12 strong, we call in to these different stations to rip them to pieces, to cannibalize them. And so we call in and we take their points apart, because we don't have to fear all the rest of these stations. Our audience is going to stay with us.
Yeah, hijacker, it's called baiting the hook. And how do we put the proper bait on the particular hook? I mean, it's complex, you know, and we have to coordinate and decide ahead of time which outlet we're going to contact. Because right now we're barely sorting things out for ourselves, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but 90% of us are on board. I mean, you know, most people don't go as far as I do with the reptilian human hybrid shapeshifters. I mean, you know, come on. But I'm saying most people believe the chemtrails, the HARP, 9/11.
We're almost out of time for the segment, Hijacker. I got a proposition. I'm willing to go another hour in overtime if you're willing to stick around.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. All I can do is...
I'm going to use reverse psychology and say, no, forget it.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting an idea out there that it would be one hell of a show if somebody could tune in and to listen to like 10 people, even though somebody gets cut off. Now, your Skype, you'd have to set your Skype up so you could call these programs where we could all be on the air. But you actually tell these people, am I on the air? You know, you call into a radio station. There are hundreds of them. Am I on the air? Yeah. Okay, so we're on the air. You know you're on the air, right? They'll say, yeah. Okay, so that's legal. Okay, we're both on the air. Okay, agree. And then you go at them, and before the conversation collapses, just want to let you know, like Anonymous has this, we are many, we are strong, we spare no vengeance, we will repay, you know the Anonymous little saying. We just end up saying, we are Revolution Radio Raiders.
Well, first thing you got to do is credit people with more than the measly 140 IQ you seem to think we were only there at.
No, I'm looking at all the people now. Every single person I'm looking at is clocking in at least 130. I mean,
well, that's not even genius yet, because I'll tell you what, since Revolution Radio is the only station that I know of online that does assemble people with, the ability to understand the Earth as it seems at this time, which is
right. No, I'm just coming up with
leaps and bounds beyond what is being told. I mean, we're way beyond a lot of people. Go ahead.
No, I was just coming up with a concept of all these other stations out there. We can be like Vikings. We can raid these people, cannibalize our audience, crush them. They're telling all these lies or so many disinformation. I mean, it was unbelievable once I started clicking from one show to another, even mainline. I mean, it's wide open with Skype. You mass up. I mean, who wouldn't listen to a program of raiders that would raid other people's shows in their face?
And you know what else makes it great is the fact that it's interactive. If you don't like what's going on here, call up and change it. Everybody criticizes Wikipedia because anybody can log in and change it. Well, wait a minute. There's a whole community of people who scrutinize what is changed. So here we are, the community of Wikipedians scrutinizing anything that makes changes during the present understanding of things, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm saying, Nick, is that what I'm saying is that the people that got the money, they are funding these stations as a counterinsurgency against alternative talk radio. We, as a guerrilla force, as raiders, we can start raiding these programs one after another and free all these people's minds who get locked into.
Which programs are you talking about?
Oh, they're all over the place. My God.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have an understanding right now that we can communicate left and right now, regardless. Both the corpus callosum, I forget the name of that, the communication between the left and right hemisphere can light speed communicate like you and I are communicating right now. And so let's bring the next level on. Let's bring the next. Who's got something to say? I mean, the chat's quiet.
I think.
There we go.
No. We need to be Vikings. We need to cannibalize these other stations. We need to go at them, chop their heads off, take their audience.
Speaking of cannibalizing stations, our chat's been down for almost an hour now over at freedomslips.com. None of us hosts or anybody even on the call can even get in.
Wow.
That's right.
We're being attacked as we speak.
That means we're getting somewhere.
I thought Big John said he was still in the chat and that he was current, at least about 15 minutes ago.
He's not seeing the small print that says disconnected from service.
Hey, I'm on. I just tried it. I just typed in hey, and I see hey next to my hey.
I don't see a hey. I see my hi. Do you see Max hi?
Oh, see, there you go.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Few of us were bumped, yes, from chat.
Yeah,
So after a few tries, I just gave up.
So I think what Hijacker was saying about cannibalizing, I think you're just cutting yourself off at the knees there. I think of that Shoeless Joe quote from Field of Dreams, man. Brother, you built it, and they are coming. You don't need to go out looking for them.
I completely agree with you.
But what I'm saying is these people are setting up false walls. They're acting like a revolution radio station, and they're diverting people. I'm saying, let's go out, free these people's minds, bring them back to our nest.
It's like the old Glenn Beck versus the Alex Jones. But we're about to break, but I think we're going to go overtime if that's popular consensus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd like that.
Yeah, I'm mad enough.
We'll do another hour then. We'll go into overtime roundtables. 347-688-2902. Get in here while you can. There's a couple seats open. 347-688-2902 or Freedom Screen on Skype. But yeah, Jacker, we got to keep those thoughts. Keep rolling, man. We got about a minute before the break.
You times the IQ power of what we got on this panel. Let's just say 130. We're clocking in at 1,300 IQ rate.
So we're going to come back with IQ rate. I got it. I'm writing it down. I'm pushing pen. I guess my IQ is too high for keyboards. You're listening to the Gray Zone Radio. We're going into overtime. We'll be right back. And we're back. Welcome to the Gray Zone Roundtable Overtime. We're joined with a whole group of great people that spend their time here volunteering at freedomslips.com. Vibes, Lisa in the chat room, Vibes. We got my wife, Wingman. We've got Noreen Helphand. She does the awesome roundtable before the Gray Zone. Fritz McDonald, Angela Black, she is back.
Yeah.
SJ from British Columbia. He'll tell you everything about everything. We got Big John on the line, Nick, and the Hijacker, who I'm going to throw the mic to first and foremost. Hijacker, go for it.
Okay, now that was good. Angela Black is back. Black is back. So that's pretty good.
Uh-huh.
You like that, Angela?
I certainly don't hate it. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. It's just a great part. You know, I was welcomed back by Hawk and the family here, and it's just amazing to be back in the flow here. It was, you know, sometimes one needs a break. I really did. Now I'm back. So yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, well no, you're a natural, Angela.
Thanks, babe. And so are you.
Tell your time you're on Studio B 4 days a week, which is going to do good for you because it's consistent.
1 second. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, my my other computer just went on. I'm at 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. The show is called At This Moment 2014, the same name of the show, but with the addition of 2014. So in case there was an archive person or a person looking for an archive, they'll be able to distinguish between last year's show and this year's show. And it's 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, on Studio B here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And I'll be basically crushing the news, basically a la Jason Brentwood, who's not currently doing a show here on the station, but definitely, covered a lot of news topics over the course of, I don't know if he had an hour or 2 hours. I'm doing a 1 hour show. So it's very interesting. Today I got to cover some Flappy Birds. There were some used iPhones with the Flappy Bird app selling for $99,000 USD on eBay before they pulled it. Because this man who had created the Flappy Birds app, it's a game, pulled out after making like 50 grand a day. And darn well, he says, Flappy Birds has ruined my life. I'm sorry, you know what? I'll tell you how to fix your life with 50 grand a day. No problem. I can help you be happy. So covered that and then went into some sad details about the killing of a giraffe in Denmark at a zoo. And then basically just, news that you're not going to hear on the air on mainstream media, that is. So I covered a few things like that and also a few mainstream media issues as well. So that's what I do. I basically am covering
that's Angela's format. It's cutting edge. It's off the beaten path trail. Like the people in Thailand or wherever it was, they killed a daggone giraffe, a 2-year-old giraffe. They killed it.
Denmark.
Denmark.
Fed it to the lions in front of children.
In front of the children, yes.
Right. When they could have donated to any other zoo, all because genetically it was the cousin of another giraffe and they didn't want it to breed. But Angela does that. She does what's happening in the world. It's a very high tempo, crush the news. In other words, you get 1 hour of Angela, and it's like getting 3 hours or more of somebody like Rush Limbaugh. You get compression.
You're very kind,
really
Hijack. You're very kind.
Good, quick stuff. So, but anyways, what we were talking about is we're talking about this raiding concept, and raiding all these other talk show hosts like Vikings at Night and cannibalizing their audience. And, I was just listening to, lots of them. And it's all just boilerplate. I can pick through any talk show host. I can tell right where they're at, what kind of gatekeeper they are, how far they're willing to go.
Hijacker, where's Howard Stern right now?
Go ahead.
I'm saying, let's raid Howard Stern.
Absolutely. He's a shock.
He's on Sirius. He's on Sirius Radio, I think, isn't he?
Well, he's one of the most listened to people on Earth, I think.
Yeah, we could raid him and attack him, but really it's all these other alternative talk show radios.
Let's raid somebody who would like being raided.
What's that?
There you go.
Hijacker, I love new ideas and everything, but wouldn't that make us trolls, mate? Why not use the same kind of principle
Wingman, that's what I call myself, as a truth troll. I troll for truth.
Why not use the same kind of principle to, address some of the infractions by some of the corporations, call them up en masse, or maybe a sheriff's department that's one of their constables has just shot someone unarmed, or ask questions or call up a congressman and...
Wait a minute.
But trolling other stations, I'm not sure if that's...
Okay, wait a minute, Hijacker, can you give a format of what you mean? Because I think there's some confusion about how to go about this. So can you give a format of how to do this?
What I'm saying is I'm noticing these corporations are countering stations like Revolution Radio by putting up tears or like stations. Left and right, they're funding them. They're putting these people on. They're just telling outright lies to capture people.
Supported only like 2 months ago. Constantly saying it now. I've seen him. He's taken things I've spoken of the night before his show on my show, and he brings it up. He's trying to get, like you say, they're trying to get trendy, trying to mesh in so they can distract.
Right. They're copying. They're even taking material. They're taking open round tables. They're taking all kinds of stuff to set these front men up. And I'm just saying, interactively, the way we counter these, am I on the air? I see something flashing.
Yeah, you're on the air. No, that's Vibe. She's having an issue, but we've also been joined by Olive. So Olive, whenever you want to fit your microphone in there, go ahead, man.
Okay,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
yeah,
Olive,
okay.
we can hear
Go ahead,
you.
Hijacker.
Okay, go ahead and finish, Hijacker.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we counter it by coming up with a troop of raiders like Vikings. We go right in their face. We try to snap their neck, and when one of us gets shot down, we tie us in Skype. In other words, we tie us in Skype, and then once they hang up on one of us, somebody else has got the Skype number. They call in so we can all hear, and that would be the show.
All right, so Hijacker, this is a group project, basically. It's not individual. It is us from Revolution Radio doing this en masse. Otherwise, it won't work.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is that all these other talk shows stations, they start to know about the Freedom Slips or Freedom Lips Raiders, that they're coming in. They don't know where they're coming in. They don't know their phone numbers. All they know is this bad group out there in the middle of the night.
It's a guerrilla group.
So what's our agenda? The agenda for the RRR, I guess you could call them, Revolution Radio Raiders, would be that the content that we're coming up with, it has to, get people interested. And for me, I know that we got into it a little bit last week, not me and you, Jacker, but talking about how there only can be really, and there is only really, in our reality, in this physical world anyhow, one truth of who we are, why we're here, where we're going. There's many roads to Hawaii. There's many ships or whatever you could get to Hawaii. But there is only one Hawaii. So it's important to know that, why we're here, to me anyway, is who we are, why we're here, and where we're going as spiritual beings having a human existence. So, that's one thing we do here is we bounce off each other's intel and intellect to find out this information. Some people really don't want to know who they are, why they're here. Some people are just purely in for the drama. I'm in for it all. I like to know, learn, and so that's what I'm saying.
But I'm looking at
very deep on it, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that's what we're talking about. But I just wanted to Hijacker. There is an implication with this, and I don't want to put a spanner in the works or anything. But that there are legal consequences that could put the station at risk if you are restreaming someone else's broadcast. There's copyright issues.
Oh, no, when you call in, you say, are you on the air?
No, it's different. If you're restreaming on on Revolution Radio, another person's stream, that's a copyright infringement.
No.
Right, Wingman's right about that.
When you call that host,
you're not
and
doing
you say to that host, you are on the air. Am I on the air? He says, yeah, you on the air. He says, well, you're on the air. So we're both on the air? Do you understand that we're both on the air?
Yeah, but if you say you're representing Revolution Radio, that's different than if you say you're representing yourself or this group.
Exactly. No.
And they'd probably hang up on you straight away if you say you were streaming over radio. So although I'm not sorry. New ideas are great, Hijacker, but I still think something along the lines of what you're saying would be good. But with regards to not radio stations, infringements that are happening. That we could perhaps call in.
We need to go after them. We need to go after them like Vikings and start chopping heads off.
I think there would be legal implications, Hijacker. I love your enthusiasm, but there would probably be legal implications that would put the station at risk. Which is obviously not what we want to see.
We gotta move. We've been moving at the rate we've been moving, and it's been a blessed rate. And we just gotta stick to our roots and keep going the way we're moving. And I think, naturally, everything's gonna form around us.
Oh,
so
no,
I don't think we need to really probe.
Like 2 million strong in no time. We can rate them all. My God.
You can actually do that, but just don't mention Revolution Radio as we are representing them. Then you'd probably be okay.
Well, no, you couldn't stream it on Revolution Radio. You can't stream someone else's broadcast.
You're not streaming. Radio. You're calling in. You're calling in and say we're both on the air.
It's still streaming. You have to be specific and say, we are streaming live on Revolution Radio.
No, you don't have to say it that way.
You would.
Freedom of Information Act type deal. You have to look into the realities.
You'll
Or
find there'll be
another,
infringement
the
along
point
the way.
is to get everybody arguing over copyright laws. And
Well,
that's
there's
the
no
problem.
copyright laws when it comes to teaching and news spreading. Okay, if it has to do with news, you're protected. As long as you state your protection.
Well, wait a minute. If you call into a show as using your name or using a anonymous name, right? I mean, as an individual, you have a right to do that anyway. So,
Right.
but if you do it under Revolution Radio name, that's a little bit different. But
the problem is
nevertheless,
if you're
No, it's
streaming
open
it over
airwaves. You don't understand. Once they go, it's open, and you're both on the air, and the person acknowledges that we are both on the air. That's all they got to
Who's
say.
both
He
on the
acknowledges it's open public radio.
You're inciting too many.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that's the point. You
hijacker, run it by a hawk or...
No, that's the point. The point is that you put a fly in the ointment. You get them so upset that all they want to do is just shut you down. They got rage and anger because somebody
They're already doing
raised
it,
so up
chatting
and
down
down.
almost for 2 hours now.
Okay, it's a great idea, hijacker. I'd like to move on from this now.
Yeah.
But still on a similar topic. I mean, if anyone does anyone have any other ideas, perhaps, with regards to...
Before we leave that one topic,
wait,
I just do want to...
Yeah, I'd like to propose
wait, Bruce was talking. It's like, sorry.
SJ, go.
Go. And Bruce after that.
Yeah,
Well,
take
good
control,
evening,
that's the fine.
folks. It's been a while since I spoke up. I've really enjoyed listening in. It's been a quite dynamic conversation covering a fairly large turf. Now, as far as with
Gray
this,
Zone, SJ.
pardon me, sir?
It's the gray zone. What do you expect?
Yeah,
It's a large
well,
turf.
It's got quite a variety of
Beyond the gray
shades,
zone.
considering it's gray, you know.
That's because it's beyond the gray zone.
Yeah, it's beyond the gray zone.
Carry on, SJ.
Well,
So,
let's do the 1 minute rule. SJ's online right now. Let SJ
Now,
go
if
and
you
somebody
don't
else.
mind,
Well,
Hey.
he was hijacker. He was.
I
Carry on,
still
SJ.
say Bruce
Jacker?
typed in first.
Jacker,
Yeah.
Well, mine was just a comedic...
I can wait. Let me know when you're interested in what I
Yeah,
have.
no,
Go
SJ.
ahead,
Listen,
SJ,
I'm
go
your
ahead.
age. One person at a freaking time.
Yeah.
Go right now.
SJ's
SJ,
got
so we
it,
can
and then
understand.
Hijacker,
SJ, go.
hijacker.
SJ, then Bruce.
Put it.
Here we go.
It's under control, don't worry. Bruce, go ahead. Or SJ and Bruce. sorry.
SJ first, then Bruce. Go ahead, SJ.
Oh, God.
Order! Order!
Yeah, really,
I'll
you
jump
guys.
in. Let's go, guys.
Come on.
Well, I've been waiting, and I'm ready to wait some more. If you're
Go,
interested,
go.
Sir, you're on the fly right now.
Ah,
Go,
good on.
SJ, there's only like 14 of them.
Hijacker. Let
Go,
SJ speak.
Go.
Let him speak. Go ahead, SJ. Try again.
I don't think anybody's had that many people.
We're waiting attentively.
You know, I have been around Jacker long enough to be able to, I'm a sort of like a hijacker whisperer. I talked everybody into letting him hang out when he first showed up. I think he got banned.
I
Kicked
put
off
myself
the
in that
network.
group, SJ. I defended hijacker. I even started the roundtable up again
Remember?
to try to make sure that nobody got pissed off because he was on.
That's
I
true.
can
That's true, SJ.
SJ, infiltrating other stations. Go.
I can appreciate his positive energy, and I can see the flaw in his solutions. But on the other hand, I can see alternatives too. What he's talking about is confrontatory activism. And it's what it is. It's a traditional way of approaching an enemy, and it also turns somebody into an enemy immediately when you think in terms of that. The more interesting way of doing it would be just to legitimize the confrontation. I mean, if it's confrontational, that's fine with people. They'd dig it if you could really pull it off and really make it entertaining, which is only slightly harder do a little bit of street theater, but you'd have to be prepared if you're going to challenge somebody with a quick mind, because they'll jump all around you if you're not. And it would be interesting to do an en masse. There's lots of future action that people are just starting to explore. Yeah, do you remember the flash mobs?
Mhm.
You couldn't believe. Well, I'll tell you. You hook up an agile mind, bunch of minds, with that concept in different generations. Each generation discovers it, right, and does it slightly differently.
Yeah, Ohio State and then Berkeley.
10-4.
Okay, well,
So
let's talk about alternative tactics. Does anyone else have any
I have
suggestions? Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead,
instead of
Bryce.
attacking other radio stations, we start with our own, and then, we weed out some of the people that might be infiltrating, or at least, get them to a level where they realize that what they're typing might be construed that way. And the other option...
wait a minute, you said point of order.
Hijacker, let her finish.
We got to have rules here.
Hijacker, let her finish.
You're talking rules and you're breaking mine. Come on, buddy.
Calm down, Hijacker.
Go ahead,
So
bud.
finish off.
One more sentence. The way I see it maybe being more effective is we took like a day, Monday, and all of us spammed St. Louis, Hugh Grant, and Monsanto. See where we get. The next day, maybe we do, another company.
Yeah, assign a day per topic. Yeah, good.
That might be an option for us. Okay, I'm done.
How does everyone feel about that?
So get the number right now. Let's get it on the air for Monsanto so we can storm them. What's their phone number? We'll do one. Let's see how it works.
Man, you go a minute. Go ahead and go a minute and give me 30 seconds.
Well, we got a lot. We got some time, but
phone number
let's get that number to Monsanto. Someone find us the number. We'll put it out on the air, and we'll see how this works. We'll see how our listeners react and respond. Go ahead.
They want Monsanto. They want us to raid and chop the heads off of the competition. Bloodthirsty. It's time we start killing. These people start. These corporations are putting all these alternative radio stations out. Can I talk? Can I talk for 15 seconds?
Killing metaphorically.
It's Hijacker's turn. Okay.
Hijacker, let others speak. Any other alternatives from anyone? Hijacker. You've already had a say. Now take a pause.
All right,
anyone
Jacker.
else want to offer? Anyone
What
else
about
want to
Bruce?
offer?
Does Bruce have any thoughts?
I just want to say I don't
SJ, yes.
I don't really have an opinion on which way Hijacker's idea should go, but I do see my father, my brother, my mother, and my sister, and my whole line before me. You guys don't know the Viking death chant?
We need to understand the natural order of things.
I understand that DC mentality. I mean, Hijacker went from South Carolina to
Yeah,
DC.
but there's AC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my point was that instead of being confrontational, if you instead become more interesting, that's the next stage up from old-style traditional combat, And it also leads to a world where people can do things together. I mean, it's learning how to turn opposition into interesting.
As soon as we do that, we have heaven on earth.
Well,
Yep, you got that right.
I'd love to see more experimental. I'd love to see more experimental tactics used in real life. I think that brings about not only a new awareness, but is a great experience and will often lead to a new insight into something or an actual result. So does anyone else have any other ideas for tactics that we could use in the real world, maybe?
Kill everybody. Go, Hijacker.
Okay,
metaphorically speaking.
So I get my 30 seconds?
Oh dear, you're feeling left out there,
What is
Hijacker. Go
your
ahead.
timing?
Okay, here's my 30 seconds. There's a whole group of us. Now we're up to something looks like 14. Maybe I'm getting cross-eyed in the middle of the night. But there's a whole lot of people here. I don't even know how Rectify you were able to have all these people. So if I add up all of
vessels.
I know all of the different
Miracle
people's
by
strength. I know all the different people's strength and weaknesses. From Olive to
10,
you, Rectify,
9,
over to Angela
8,
Black,
7,
and to let me
6,
see who's over in the corner
5,
because there's so many people.
4,
Up
3,
3,
2,
Okay, go ahead. You got it.
1.
Take a minute. We're either going to move the ball down the road or we're not. I mean, you know.
No, okay, hijacker. Seriously, I too am thirsty for a little bit more action. I want to see us manifest a little bit of controversy, maybe, and put ourselves out there and use our intellects, like hijacker quite rightly said. We do have a great intellect here and wisdom, and use that somehow and see what we can manifest. But you know how we do it. We need to again. I mean, we need to organise ourselves, just like the masses need to. We need to organise the masses and so on and so forth to get the results that we want to do. But start small, admittedly, and see how it goes.
Well, I would think that
One of
the
the things
content would be, the
that's
content that
interesting
we,
about having a lifetime of exposure to really high quality speculative thinking is that all of this has been approached in about 1,000 different ways. And this is only one way to proceed. Actually, like I say, it's good energy, but it's standard, same old stuff, combative thinking. It's not innovative. It's not making a union. It's not finding something
freedom
in
fighters.
common.
We're really freedom fighters. Yeah, we're out. And Olive, you had something to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say whatever it is that the content that we bring up, we would all have to agree if we're going to go after something. But it seems to me everybody has their own perception of who they are. And like I was saying earlier, there is only really, and I'd like to get SJ's opinion on this because I mentioned it earlier and nobody likes to talk about it. There really is only one truth and reality of who we are, why we're here, where we're going. And for me, that's what I'd like to seek out. If we just want to play, then we could just play around and just talk. But if we're going to get into the hardcore stuff, then that's different. So you need to know the content that we're going to want to do. I think we'd all have to agree if we're going to put it out there as one people.
Well, the amount of bias has to be admitted when there's even a potential for it. So the point of this, all I figure, is to be as honest as possible about the really incredibly amazing, incredibly diverse universe of universes that we live in.
As honest or truthful?
All of the above.
No, it's got to be one or the other.
Oh, don't play word games with me, Nick. You know.
It's not word games.
Oh, man.
It's ideology.
Well, you know, you can split the atom as many ways as you want, but getting to the point, what we're trying for is high standards. You can put it as simply as that, right?
Are we splitting atoms or molecules? There's a big difference.
Fibers. Let's go on the fibers level.
Okay,
We're already splitting molecules. Let's not do that, okay?
No, we need to do that. That's how we figure things out. How does things weave? That's what we need to know.
How things work?
Once
you all the merry-go-round.
Go ahead, Big John.
Well, I figure.
Hold on, SJ. Let Big John finish.
It's only the merry-go. Let me start. It's the merry-go-round of the corporate circus. They want you to put your dollars in their pocket.
It's not a
one step at a time. Decide where you. Oh, okay, Nick. It's not a corporate. Of course it is. It's owned by a very small group of people, and they control everything. So by going outside normal way of spending, which is what the sheep do. Look, I'd like to see the money figures that are spent in the USA on food. And I bet that the high-processed takeaway food runs number one.
You get arrested for going through grocery stores and dumping.
Grow your own food.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Collect rainwater. Exactly. Decide where you're going to spend your dollar. Put it in the farmer's market. Let it go back to the producer. Cut the middlemen and the corporate out. It's one step at a time.
John, the thing is, why? Because I want fast food doesn't mean I have to have bad food. Why?
Don't
You can have a lot of that.
That's the way the system is. You won't change the system until you learn how the system works and manipulate it to your satisfaction.
Until we work together to give it to everybody's satisfaction, not just mine, but I can.
Well, it starts with self, because unless you understand self and love self, not service to self, but service to the good of humanity, you're not going to get anywhere. It starts with you. You can't expect everybody to jump online and go, wow, 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 isn't this great? Unless you're prepared to do the hard yards and get there and do it yourself. Over.
You're absolutely right. That's correct. But how about a world where we've already decided that? Where we've already decided that I can give more than I need. Because I'm healthy, I've already taken care of myself, I can actually give enough to make sure everybody has.
Well, Nick, that's only good if it's an activation. Otherwise, it's just words.
Right.
Well, I don't know, where we're at. Can I get 90 seconds?
Make it work, Hijacker.
Jacket, take 2 minutes, man. I want to hear what you got to say.
Hey, I'll see you later, gang. I love you all. Have fun, Jacker.
Take care, bro.
Thanks for calling.
Very much. Bye.
Great day, man.
Bye-bye.
It'll be 1 in 2 minutes next time.
Oh, my gosh.
Go ahead, Jacker. What you got, man?
Okay, so I got 90 seconds.
I tell you what, take 100.
Okay.
He's kidding.
Okay, so nobody disrupt me. Here we go. This is the concept. The alternative corporations, the corporations which are trying to shut down things like Revolution Radio, the reason why they fired John B. Wells from coast to coast, they're putting pressure all around. They've come up with a different strategy, and that strategy is no longer they send trolls and shrills into chat rooms to disrupt us.
Shrills, by the way, not shrills.
Okay, whatever. I'm dyslexic.
It's okay.
It's actually got a program. It's Obama's put in billions of dollars into this thing.
I got 14 seconds.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Vibes, you get a minus 10-second fine for that. Go ahead, Hijack.
Okay, so I'm down to 80 seconds now. Alrighty, this is good. Okay, so they're setting up all these other alternative talk show, internet radio stations all around. Believe it or not, I've done my research for the last 7-10 days because my schedule's so screwed up because I did all those shows that I got a chance to listen to them. But they're trying to shut down Revolution Radio another way, which is setting up Judas goats or false radio stations that people talk about grays or chemtrails or GMO food. You can just turn it on. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And so they're trying to siphon off all the dam of people that are breaking from the mainstream media that are now flowing in there through alternative talk show, internet radio. They've set up all these different things, and these people are getting money. I'm convinced of it. I've listened to them. They're too good at what they do. So they set these people up. So here's the concept. The concept is that we get proactive. As a group, we use Skype. We actually get the Skype in order to be a raider, Revolution Radio or Freedom Slips Raider. We can actually call them. Right now, there's like 10 of us. Well, there was 14. 2 people dropped off. 10 of us at 130 IQ. We're dealing with 1,300 IQ going up against any of these talk show radio.
You covering the same ground now, Hijacker. But
okay,
I mean, run it by
27 seconds.
No, you haven't.
Let me finish.
Your watch is slow. No, run it by Hawk, Hijacker, because there are, like I say, you'd have to check the legal implications with regards to the avenue that you'd like to go down.
Yeah, let me say something, Hijacker. The internet is not regulated the way you think it is by the FCC, Federal Communication Commission. you can say a lot here. I mean, if you want, you could cuss all you wanted in the chat room. Those are rules that are done by Hawk and Weisenberg in order to, to keep things kind of mellowed out. But you're not on the main, it's not regulated like you think. You can say what you want. Dave's not here.
No, Dave's not here, but Justin Time is. What's up, big old elder brother of Revolution Radio? Spit it out.
I was just going to say.
I got a big 34 seconds. So go ahead.
Hijacker, we got a guest. Justin Time's just come in. Go ahead, Justin. Sorry about one of our guests, Hijacker. He's got a lot to say, and I bless him. But go ahead, Justin.
And he wonders why so many block him. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't want to say? Do you not want to say anything, Justin? Or
no, let him go. Let him go.
Well, no, go ahead.
You have nothing to retribute with what the Jackers.
No, just more interference. I still got like 63 seconds left, and whenever
you haven't. No, you don't have to give me 63 seconds. Okay. I'll just that's a red card for Hijacker. Red card for Hijacker. Foul in the end zone.
Well, he dropped off, so go ahead.
Hijacker is the referee.
We'll give you another 90. Go for it, man.
Holding.
Okay, so do I get a chance to talk?
You make it sound like you never get a chance to talk, Hijacker. Of course you got a chance to talk. Take the opportunity, seize the moment, and go.
Okay, so this is my point. The corporations are setting up all of these fake alternative talk show media.
Said that.
I got
You're going in circles, Jacker. That's Wingman's point.
You're biting your tail.
So do I get a penalty? Do I get an extra 10 seconds to 104 seconds?
You get a pep pill. You get an antipsychotic pill. Go ahead.
So now we're going to go antipsychotic. Really?
Oh, my gosh.
Don't take it personally.
Hijacker, come on. I'm just saying you're repeating yourself.
That's my point.
What do you want to, what are you trying to say?
Calling somebody like Wingman on alternative radio that wants to trash stuff up, I crush them. I tell them ahead of time, you can't take me for 30 seconds. I'm one of many of the raiders. Then I pull from Angela Black, who knows about chemtrails, if they're talking about that. And then she calls in. She does them. And then somebody else calls in. They kick their ass. And then we rob them of their whole audience. We go from one station to another as a group, like a Borg.
So just like a front line of callers, basically.
Right. We free the minds, like in the Matrix.
We go from one speed dial them one after another to get onto the show live and just blast out. It sounds like an Alex Jones tactic.
I don't think it's possible for me to talk for 90 seconds without somebody interrupting me. I don't believe that's possible.
I believe it's a round table, and I don't believe there's a such thing as interruption. There's just kindness. And,
a minute and a half? A minute and a half?
That's a long damn time.
Wow.
You've actually been going for nearly like 5 minutes, Hijacker, so this 90 seconds is...
Okay.
Anyway, Hijacker, you've said your point.
And he's gone. Okay. And I didn't drop him. He said late.
Hey, R3, thanks for not dropping him. I think a person should be able to say what they want up to an extent. I mean, he was, this ban.
Yeah, right. This ban. Say what he's got to say, for sure.
This banning people for bubblegum talk in the chat room. I mean, come on, let's grow up. Reminds me of, I'm going to put you on the ignore button. Am I in 3rd grade again? Right. I never put people on ignore.
Don't tell me. I've been demonized hardcore at the station. I don't even need to go there. I understand.
Anyway, I want to thank you for taking my call.
Hey, brother. Always and anytime.
I just want to say I love Hijack. I love his passion, but he was repeating himself with the same topic, and but I think. But I think that, a lot of us probably are toying with the idea of actual, some kind of activism, because it is lacking, let's face it.
No, we're just doing this, just for the cause, right? That is the cause. Come on.
He was talking about ambushing, different venues.
That's not going to help anything.
That's what he was trying get across, and he was getting it across, but he didn't accept the fact that he was getting that
Like
across.
3 times.
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah,
the perpetual 90 seconds, I know. But yeah, okay. So I mean, do any of you guys want to carry on with the same topic, or does anyone want to bring something new up?
What do you got on your mind,
You've
man?
got 90 seconds, Wingman.
What's that, Maureen?
You've got 90 seconds, Wingman. Just kidding.
Justin, you got 90 seconds. What's up?
I was just going to say that, if he's so hell-bent on going in and raiding these radio stations, why does he need to drag the rest of us in? Go for it, buddy. But
Well, he thinks he'll be more effective. It's a group effort. It's a collective thing. But the problem with that is, we're supposed to be, it's not us against us. I mean, you might as well start a race war with that. Or, what they want. That's what they want.
Don't even feed them the energy. Stay away
Yeah,
from
because,
it.
you're right. You're right. Don't feed it, because the more they get to know us in that vein, the more they dislike us. Yeah. They'll ban us for free.
Sometimes you gotta reverse the message.
Go ahead.
If I may. I've been actually pretty quiet for a while.
Mrs. Black, go ahead.
Thank you.
Black
What I
is
wanted to say is, I remember back in the day when I first got to Revolution Radio, and there were some particular round table hosts that had recruited me from another chat room and another station where I was a beginning co-host, and that station is or is not in existence, and there may or may not have been some meth lab involved. I'm not sure.
You say meth lab?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about anything personal. I'm talking about a particular radio station that might exist called American Freedom Radio, where the owner is in jail or was in jail since July.
Wow.
That whole thing. Okay, which I don't know if you guys know it.
Dirty laundry here, huh?
I'm not. No, this is public.
Layers.
It's quite public. Wait a minute, it's quite public. Okay, and I think that the station carried on, but Home Slice, whether or not he was set up and whether or not the facts are correct, blah blah blah. Homie did get arrested for meth lab. Blah blah blah. Okay. Anyway, that was the station that I was, co-hosting on, and nothing to do with the hosts or the.
That's unfortunate, actually.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like
Okay,
when you found out Hawk was like doing child prostitution.
right, exactly. No, and by the way, everyone, that was an iffy, but it's not that was not a statement by Rectify. Okay, anyway. Okay.
Yeah,
Can I have my 90 seconds, please? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so anyway, and you know what? I love Hijacker. I think he's great. I think he brings a lot to the table and inspires conversation, and thought process. So regardless of whatever, that seed has now been planted. Okay, so anyway, I was recruited by a roundtable host on Revolution Radio on that other station,
Getting
which might have
so
been
many
called
fingers into, they can't help what they're getting their fingers into.
So I was recruited by these roundtable hosts on Revolution Radio, and then all of a sudden there was kind of a mutiny, and this was way back in the day, 6 months into the station or something like that. And so I blindly followed at first, and I found this. That I was in the middle of this war all of a sudden with the what do you call it, mutinist? A person who is communicating, mutineers, thank you. And then I started talking to Hawk, who made a lot more sense than the people that had lured me into another direction, another radio station. So I just want to say that regarding that particular mentality of raiding stations and or causing combat, which is which I think inspired this conversation, which if nothing else is very important. Do we not agree that that Hijacker has now inspired this conversation where we are now going to come to a
failed, though, so that tells me that's weak. That's weak sauce right there. He failed. He should have chilled. I don't know why he bailed. That's totally weak sauce. He wants his 90 seconds.
You had to be there, though.
But, anybody else, no, I'm going to go and hide and go under the covers.
What I would say about Hijacker is that what are we talking about now?
Me too.
We're talking about exactly what he brought up, which, you know what, has its own value right there. So just to finish up my thought process on this particular thing, combat, it really did harm everybody in the long run. I look back at it, I was actually viewing Hawks and my Skype chat looking for a file from day one, back in, like, we're talking almost 3 years ago, we started talking. I'm looking through files in 2011, etc. And I realized all of the extra thought process that had gone on during this battle between, mutineers and the host and another station, etc. And I thought, wow, I looked at it and I said, what a waste of time, knowing what I know now. So in general, what I have to say is that I respect Hijacker for bringing this topic up because at least we are addressing this issue. And I think that as a general consensus, we're finding that combat may not be the answer. And I have to be
and many other issues.
To finish up, I happen to be a personal advocate for that not to happen. But I do think that it inspired conversation, which is incredibly, incredibly significant.
Well, Jacker knows. I'm sure he's still listening. We're going to bring him back into the call right now,
Point of order for 10 seconds.
No, we're going to let the man speak for himself.
Oh,
Jacker.
wow, he's back.
Well, only if he's got something new to say. He keeps repeating himself, drop him.
Well, hi, Jacker. You got the mic, brother.
Okay, so do I finally get like 90 seconds?
I'm going to start the tick. Go for it.
I mean, now I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16
Shut
people.
up and get to your point.
Yeah, I'm looking at 449. Go.
I had your back, Jacker.
Yeah, I appreciate
We
that,
all
man.
love you. We all love you.
Well, there's actually a lot of hosts that came from a lot of different stations. They found out the various things that were going on. They came on Revolution Radio. So there is merit to rating other people's radio stations. But the biggest moral authority, or the high ground, what a cop calls the moral high ground. And this is why when you see a cop in uniform with a badge and a gun, you sort of submit. It's because he's got the moral high ground. He is the good guy. He is the guy that's placing his life in jeopardy for yours. And so it's called the moral high ground. The moral high ground of this concept is that these corporations are flooding alternative talk radio stations. They're paying for them. They're putting them up there as Judas goats so they don't get to Revolution Radio. They don't say the Kennedy assassination was real. No 9/11. No chemtrails. No HARP. No nothing.
You said this earlier. You're repeating yourself, mate.
Oh no! You're not letting me finish, Wingman. I mean,
because you're repeating yourself.
COINTELOP too. I mean, come on. You can't party with me and let me go for 90 seconds.
Happens to be a reason for him tripping you up.
Okay. All I'm simply saying is that right now I'm looking at anywhere from 10 to 14 people. I don't know who's hang up or who's what. And so we're dealing with an IQ level of about 130 each.
Why are we going through this again, brother? What's the point? Just break it down into one statement.
Holy moly, Hijacker, you just said the same
like
thing.
You're doing what you're explaining.
You're going to let me finish?
No.
Your 90 seconds is over.
Said the same
no,
thing.
it's not over. I talked for 28 seconds.
Over.
I'm watching
It's
the
probably
damn
74 seconds.
But it's like listening to a broken record, Hijacker, on the same 90 seconds.
Right, he was trying to put a new twist on it.
Let me have 17 or 20.
Add a little spice. Just put a new twist on it or something. Not the same thing.
Maybe I could just form my own network. Maybe
That's what you ought to do. That's what you ought to do.
There we go.
Okay, in one statement, what would be your advice for all of us at Revolution Radio to do right now in one step, one statement? Jacker?
See, Jacker gets pissed when he doesn't get his
Revolution
That's what he
Radio
done
is
before.
a tough road to hoe.
Okay, look, I'm going to put another thought out there. What do you guys think about activism in today's world? And even maybe surgical anarchy, if you want to call it that. I mean, because, there are a lot, it seems...
Wingman, do you think you can shut up for 90
Hijacker, shut up for a moment, please.
Wingman.
Hijacker.
Wingman.
Please,
You
had
can
your
shut up
respect.
for 90 seconds.
Hijacker. You're talking over me, mate. I'm saying something.
No. Do you think you can shut up for 90 seconds?
Hijacker. Shush.
No, 90 seconds.
Hijacker, Wingman is your biggest supporter at this time.
Sorry about
So
that.
yeah, I was gonna finish off before I was interrupted.
Go ahead.
Because it almost seems as though in today's world, and obviously, chip in if you've got something to say on this, but in today's world, it seems like doing the right thing 9 times out of 10 along the line somewhere will involve a confrontation with the legal system or the law. So how can we move forward in terms of activism, real activism?
Well, that's
and
the
still
thing, Wingman,
denial of service.
You have, wait a minute, Wingman.
Go ahead, Nick.
You have to distinguish between the legal system and the law. That's not the same thing. Do you want to distinguish between the legal system or the law?
I want to do the right thing.
You want to do the right thing, the correct.
This is good radio? This is good radio? Really?
Actually,
You
I
want
was
to do the
enjoying
correct
it.
thing?
All right, Jacker, look.
Involved.
Just ease up, man.
I
Go
defeated
ahead,
you,
Nick.
thing, man. You can't take me 90 seconds. Period. You can't shut
You
your
got
mouth
more than
90
90
seconds.
seconds, Hijacker. You got.
Nobody can.
You got
I'm too powerful.
10 seconds.
We got 5 minutes.
Can I break in?
808. Go ahead.
808, 308. Happy Fig Bar greetings to everybody.
Thank you.
And I'm calling to yield my 90 seconds to Hijacker.
Okay, that sounds good.
You're giving
All right.
him 90 seconds to hijack.
I'm giving him my 90 seconds.
I think.
And whatever you do,
Congress.
whatever you do, don't chase your tail.
All right, Jacker, you got 90 seconds from a caller donation. Go for it.
Do you really believe out of this conversation that I'm actually going to get 90 seconds? Do you really believe that?
You already started. Now go.
Okay, so we're like 12 seconds in. So let me do my 82 seconds. Okay, let's restart it.
All right,
seconds.
everybody mute up. We're going to give
Wow,
Hijacker
man, I'm
90
crushing
seconds. I'm
everybody.
starting the clock now. Go.
Okay, so these corporations are starting all these alternative radio stations all over the place to basically drive away or Judas goat, trap people that would come to Revolution Radio. Okay, we're at 17 seconds. I'm watching the clock. And what I'm saying is that us as a group using Skype interactively, we can actually go into and call their radio shows one after another. Angela Black's online, Noreen's online, Nick's on. We all got different talents. We can call into them one right after another and let them know that they got attacked by Revolution Radio raiders. If you want the real truth, this is where you come. You want to talk about grays or you want to talk about good aliens? Fine. Then one of us calls in, we debunk them. GMO foods? Oh, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as GMO foods. Well, somebody calls in, but then you let them and you tag them back to where we are at in our station. And then one after another, we could do this literally 2 hours. Each one of us could run our own operations and crush one station after another, after another, after another, in which their audience would be ours, because their audience is really looking for the truth. And once they hear the ring of truth in our voice, they're going to come over to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. They're going to say,
1 second left, Jacker.
Actually, it's got 28 seconds left. But
No, you haven't got 28 seconds left. And for the third or fourth time in a row, you just said exactly the same thing.
Okay, well,
unbelievable, Hijacker.
Let's talk about pigs.
Hijacker.
All right, let's get this organized. All of us up.
Yeah, the reason why I think Hijacker's repeating himself there, Wingman, is he's trying to get people to agree with him on the issue.
I don't know. We go on to another hour. I feel better, actually. You guys have all helped. Are we going to move on to another hour?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Stick around. We'll be back. This is Revolution Radio, the Gray Zone, over.